Chapter 177. Do you think I'm that stupid? Chin Chu's question made Huamin speechless. She also felt that Chin Chu was not the kind of person who would be stupid with too much money. Things had turned out like this. If she gave money as compensation, wouldn't it mean that she was the guilty party? Moreover, that family had asked for a few $1,000,000 right off the bat. In fact, they were being unreasonable. What did President Wu say? He will take care of the hospital. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. I have an appointment with those people for a negotiation at 6 o'clock in the evening. I'll send you home to rest. Do you want me to go with you? No, leave it to me, Chin Chu refused. Huamin did not insist. To be honest, she did not know what to talk about with those people. However, she had confidence in Chin Chu. He always had his own set of principles. After dinner, Huamin went home. She sent a WeChat message to Zhu Lingling for a while and then fell asleep. Chin Chu went to the appointed tea house to meet the patient's family. The pregnant woman's husband seemed to have come prepared. This time, he brought a lot of people, about 17 or 18. The private room was filled to the brim. He was probably scared of Chin Chu's beating. On the other hand, Chin Chu only brought one person with him. It was a man in his 40s. He was dressed in a suit and wore gold-rimmed glasses. He looked very gentle. No one knew where he came from. Don't waste time. Tell me your conditions. Chin Chu sat down, took off his coat, and handed it to the man behind him. Compensate me. How much do you want? Chin Chu looked at the pregnant woman's husband and asked. Well, that young nurse has caused a bad impact on my wife and daughter. Mental damage compensation, medical expenses, nutrition compensation, and so on. Of course, I have to pay more. Brother, the compensation is for the deceased's family. You're wrong. It's not compensation. It's consolation money. Anyway, pay the money. I'm asking you how much you want. Chin Chu controlled his temper and asked the main point again. The man thought for a moment and stretched out his fingers. 3 million. This medical accident is at least 3 million. Also, you beat me up at the police station yesterday. I've already done an injury assessment. I'm now concussed by you. I'm afraid I can't work for the rest of my life. You have to compensate me at once. If you add these two things together, you can just give me 5 million. I'm a nice person. I don't want to ask you for more. Upon hearing his words, Chin Chu glanced at him without batting an eyelid and replied coldly, You sure have the guts to speak. Of course, it's a reasonable amount. We've also consulted a lawyer. You can't fool me. This time, the hospital said that you'll be fully responsible for this matter. Originally, I wanted the hospital to pay 2 million yuan and your family to pay 1 million yuan. But you just had to take on this matter. Okay, it's only 5 million. I agree. Chin Chu nodded. The man was overjoyed. After being beaten up by Chin Chu yesterday, he was a little afraid of him. He thought that the negotiation would not go well today. He thought that if he could not ask for a sky-high price, he would slowly reduce it. Finally, he would agree even if it was 1 million. But he did not expect that the other party would not bargain at all and actually agree. Okay, then let's settle it privately. I won't go to the hospital to make a scene. Are you paying in cash or by card? The man was a little impatient. Chin Chu said slowly, There's no hurry. Your matter is settled, but the matter of my family being pushed down by you has not been settled. Oh, that matter. Okay, how about this? I'll give you 10,000 yuan as compensation for the nurse. What do you think? The man seemed to think that he was quite generous. He offered to give 10,000 yuan to Huamin as compensation for her head injury. Chin Chu did not say anything. Instead, he hooked his finger at the man in the suit behind him. Lawyer Song, you tell him what to do next. Chapter 178. Okay, sir. The man behind him nodded and took out a thick stack of documents from his folder and placed it on the table. Ms. Huamin is the family member of my client. You pushed her down in front of the hospital and caused her head injury. That's just a minor injury, don't try to extort money from me. She went to the hospital for a checkup and was completely fine. Even the police know this, the man anxiously explained. Mr. Song continued, "Let me finish first. The police didn't pursue the matter, but my client purchased a major life insurance policy for Ms. Huamin a month ago. It's a multi-body insurance policy, and Ms. Huamin's head is insured for 50 million yuan. In other words, if Ms. Huamin was injured, regardless of whether it was man-made or a natural disaster, the insurance company has to pay for it. Then why don't you ask the insurance company for it?" The man was no longer calm. If it was a natural disaster, the insurance company would naturally pay for it. However, this time, you were the one who caused it, so the insurance company will sue you. In other words, if you can't pay 50 million yuan in compensation, the insurance company will sue you for intentional assault. You will face up to 5 years in prison. What? Are you kidding me? The man was completely dumbfounded. Sorry, I never joke. As the lead lawyer of GK's legal team, Mr. Song was a man of his word. Isn't it just a bump on the head? As for the compensation, are you kidding me? Why don't you just rob me? Plus, I don't believe that someone would purchase a life insurance policy for a woman's head for no reason. It doesn't make sense. It seemed like the pregnant woman's husband wasn't a hooligan. At least he could deduce whether it was scientific or not. Just then, Mr. Song seriously flipped through a page of documents and handed it to the man. "You can take a closer look at this page. My client's family member, Ms. Huamin, was appraised as a genius with an IQ of 130 when she was 8 years old. She relies on her brain, so of course, she has to protect her head. Who would believe that a genius can be a nurse?" The man obviously didn't believe it. Qin Chu picked up his jacket, shook off the dust, and said slowly, "You should really thank her for being a nurse. Otherwise, she wouldn't have saved your wife and daughter that night. You returned her kindness with ingratitude, so you have to bear the consequences today. Okay, my time is limited, so that's all for today. The insurance company and legal team will contact you in the future. You can think about it when you get home. Do you want to pay or go to jail?" After Qin Chu spoke, Mr. Song picked up the documents and followed Qin Chu into the tall Maybach. Mr. Song, the man's brother, Mr. Song's brother, Mr. Song, of course. The man stretched his neck. After seeing the logo of the car clearly, he shouted, "What kind of luxurious car is this?" That was an M logo. It was obviously a Magetan produced by FAW Volkswagen. A car that cost more than 100,000 yuan was called a luxury car? Who were they trying to fool? I don't believe his nonsense. Let's go. The man didn't seem to take Qin Chu's words seriously. That was until he received a summons from the court that night. It turned out that the insurance company had already checked the man's family and felt that they couldn't afford the 50 million compensation. Therefore, there was no need for negotiation. They directly sued the man in court. Because of the large amount of money involved, the court was afraid that the man would run away. That night, they sent people from the prosecutor's office to arrest the man temporarily. This matter immediately stunned the pregnant woman's family. That night, when Qin Chu went out to meet with clients, he received a call from the insurance company. They politely said that the 50 million compensation had been transferred to his personal account. If you thought that Qin Chu had made a profit this time, you were very wrong. Starting from a month ago, Qin Chu would have to pay the insurance company 1 million yuan every month in insurance. Not only Huamin's head, but his hands and legs were also heavily insured. 1 million a month, all the way until Huamian turned 60. Rich people were indeed capricious. If you thought that Qin Chu paid for the insurance company's compensation, you were wrong. Because Qin Chu valued that if anyone hurt Huamin and couldn't afford to pay a huge sum, the insurance company would immediately sue them. At that time, the suspect would face jail. That was his real goal. Huamin seemed to be oblivious at home. She was eating potato chips and watching cartoons. Then, she received a call from the pregnant woman. She wailed as soon as she opened her mouth. "Huamin, I'm sorry. We were wrong. Please let my husband go." Chapter 179. Min knew that Qin Chu had gone out to negotiate with the patient's family because of her, but she did not expect things to progress so quickly. Before Qin Chu returned home, the pregnant woman's begging call came in. Hearing Min's silence, the pregnant woman cried again and said, "It's all our fault. We were too greedy and thought that we could use this opportunity to get a sum of money from the hospital. In the end, we were blinded by profit, but we really know that we were wrong. Please give us a chance. My 2 children can't live without a father. I'm really afraid of losing him. If he really goes to jail, then everything will be ruined." Hearing the word jail, Min's heart was a little moved. She did not know what method Qin Chu had used. However, it was definitely very decisive. Otherwise, the pregnant woman would not have cried like this. Let me think about this. Min was physically and mentally exhausted. She had been entangled in this matter for the past few days and was extremely irritated. She did not want to make any promises to the pregnant woman because she did not know how far Qin Chu had gone. She simply hung up the phone first. Then, the pregnant woman sent a lot of text messages. Most of them were words of praise and begging. Min actually did not sympathize with the pregnant woman at this moment. She only felt that if she had known this would happen, she would not have done it in the first place. If Qin Chu did not have the ability to deal with the aftermath for her, would they be so kind as to let her go? If she let them go, then who would clear her innocence? Moreover, this matter involved so many people. When Qin Chu came back, Min had already prepared dinner. It was a combination of meat and vegetables, and it looked, smelled, and tasted good. As long as Min cooked, Qin Chu's appetite would be very good. He would eat 2 bowls of rice in one go. During dinner, Min ate slowly while secretly glancing at Qin Chu. "Do you have something to say to me?" Qin Chu asked. "Ahem. You eat quite a lot, but you don't seem to be fat at all. Do you have any secret to maintaining your figure?" Qin Chu looked at Min helplessly and said, "I'll give you one more chance. If you don't get to the point, I'm going to have a video conference in the study." Because he was busy with Min's matter, the month-end summary meeting of the 7 branch companies was postponed. There was a lot of work waiting for him to deal with, so he didn't have time to discuss with Min how to maintain his figure. Seeing that Qin Chu was so direct, Min did not intend to beat around the bush. "How did you deal with that family? His wife called me today and begged me. They reaped what they sowed," Qin Chu said coldly. "I think so too. I heard that the man was going to jail. He did push me down that day, but the police took me to the hospital for an evaluation. Gao Ran knows that I'm fine. So, why is the man going to jail? Extortion?" Min thought that Qin Chu's legal team was so powerful, so he was probably using this as an excuse. Extortion is not enough. Even if he was sentenced, it would only be 2 to 3 years. It's not interesting. Then he is. Min wanted to say something, but he stopped. "This matter is already over. You don't have to ask. Anyways, if you have any problems in the future, you must tell me." Qin Chu did not seem to want to say too much to Min, nor did he want to tell Min about the 10 million yuan insurance policy. He just quietly did everything for her. Seeing that Qin Chu did not want to say anything, Min did not dare to ask any more. Qin Chu always had his reasons for doing things. Before the video conference began, Qin Chu made a phone call. An hour later, all the major media outlets revealed the truth. They publicly criticized the pregnant woman and her husband for being crazy. At the same time, they described Min as a high and mighty figure. Although he was not a doctor, he had a high level of professionalism. Min went from a criminal to a celebrity overnight. In front of the TV, the pregnant woman cried and confessed, "Our whole family has wronged Min. We repay kindness with ingratitude. This is our retribution. We only hope that Min can forgive us and give us a chance to turn over a new leaf." Min only took a hot bath. When she came out, her phone was about to explode with calls. She read the head nurse's message first. "Min, watch the evening news." Chapter 180. After reading the head nurse's message, she immediately turned on the TV in the living room and saw the live evening news. The pregnant woman was interviewed and apologized to Huamin in front of everyone on TV. She revealed the truth of what happened that night and even showed the test results to prove that she didn't suffer from any sequelae. She and her husband were greedy and wanted to scam Huamin out of money, so they framed him. As soon as she said that, everyone immediately condemned her. In the city's first forum, the account that had been exposing this incident and constantly attacking Huamin and the first hospital was also quietly deleted. Many reporters somehow got Huamin's phone number and kept calling Huamin until his phone almost exploded. Huamin was speechless when she saw that there were more than 200 missed calls. She lay on the bed in the bedroom and used her phone to send WeChat messages to Zhu Lingling, Huang Yu, and the head nurse. The truth was finally out. Of course, she knew that this was all because of Qin Chu's intervention. If it weren't for Qin Chu, no one would have been able to settle this matter so quickly. When Qin Chu finished his meeting, it was already midnight. After he took a shower, he walked into the room in his pajamas. Huamin was already asleep. He gently climbed onto the bed and pulled the blanket over her before lying down beside her. He knew how powerful the media was. If anyone dared to use public opinion to bully his wife in the future, there were only 3 words for him to say: kill without mercy. He looked at Huamin's face as she slept. Her rosy cheeks and slightly curled eyelashes were as quiet as a baby's. Qin Chu's heart almost melted when he looked at her. His eyes were full of love. He carefully left a light kiss on her cheek and whispered in her ear, "Good night." The next morning, after breakfast, Qin Chu went to work while Huamin packed up and went to the hospital. The 3-day holiday was almost over, and the matter had settled down. It was time to return to work at the hospital. However, she did not expect that as soon as she arrived at the entrance of the first hospital, the pregnant woman rushed out of nowhere, knelt on the ground, and hugged Huamin's thigh tightly. "What are you doing? Get up quickly." Huamin was shocked. "Huamin, I beg you, let us go. We really know that we were wrong. I already explained everything in front of the media last night. I beg you to let my husband go. My child and I can't live without him." After saying this, the woman started crying again. "You're still in confinement. Why are you here? Let's talk in private." Huamin reached out to support her. Unexpectedly, the woman refused to get up and said to the media not far away, "If you don't promise me, I will kneel here today and not get up." After speaking, the woman turned to a 7 or 8-year-old girl and an old lady with a baby in her arms and said, "Come here and kneel in front of her. Ask her to save your father." Hearing this, the old lady knelt down with the baby in her arms. The little girl didn't seem to understand what was going on, so she also knelt on the ground. The entire family knelt in front of the hospital. Huamin did not expect her to do this. "Get up, I forgive you. As for your husband, I will find a way to get him out." In front of the media, Huamin had no choice but to relent. If he pitied this woman before, then at this moment, he no longer had a good impression of her. She was a completely manipulative bitch. If she really wanted to apologize, she should have gone to Huamin in private. Why did she have to make such a big fuss? Who was she trying to show it to? At this point, she still had to use public pressure to force Huamin. Huamin was speechless. "Really? Thank you, Huamin. You're such a good person. But you have to tell me, who's behind all of this?" Huamin asked calmly. The woman was slightly stunned. Chapter 181. Is this really? Before the woman could finish her explanation, Huamin interrupted impatiently, "Don't play games with me. Let's make a deal. Tell me who she is and I'll find a way to get your husband to come out. Then, we'll call it even." Seeing that Huamin was determined, the woman stood up and whispered something into Huamin's ear. Huamin nodded. Then, he turned to the media and said, "Friends from the media, thank you for following this incident. Actually, the cause of this incident was very simple. I just wanted to save someone, but things have turned out this way. During this period of time, I have caused a negative impact on the hospital, so I would like to apologize to President Wu. If he didn't always believe in me and support me, I wouldn't be where I am today. At the same time, I would like to thank my family for supporting me when I was at my most helpless. They helped me uncover the truth and cleared my name. Anyway, please don't report on this incident in the future. Thank you. After that, Huamin turned around and walked into the hospital. The incident had officially come to an end. Huamin's words at the entrance of the hospital were broadcasted on all the major media platforms. Qin Chu was looking through financial documents in his office. When he heard Huamin's voice, he slowly raised his head and stared at the TV. Since Yang had met Huamin before, he vaguely guessed that the nurse involved in this incident was his boss's sweetheart. So, when the live broadcast started, he turned on the TV like a lackey. Sure enough, he attracted the attention of his boss. When he saw Huamin thanking his family, Qin Chu's eyes softened. Was she finally willing to admit his existence? Boss, my sister-in-law is getting married the day after tomorrow. Can I take the morning off? I'll come back after lunch. Yang immediately made a request while his boss was in a good mood. I'll give you a day off. Go ahead. Thank you, boss. Yang was instantly overjoyed. It was a good idea to make a request when his boss was in a good mood. Inside the dean's office, Wu Xiaoxue said angrily, "Uncle, this incident has caused a negative impact on the hospital. You must fire Huamin. Otherwise, it's hard to guarantee that such a thing won't happen again." I know what I'm doing. You don't have to repeat yourself. Uncle, I really don't understand. Huamin is just a nurse. Why are you so protective of her? Did she give you a gift? Wu Xiaoxue was angry, so she spoke without thinking. President Wu's face darkened. Xiaoxue, don't mess around. This is not your home. This is the hospital. I am President Wu, not your uncle. I'm not convinced. I want you to fire Huamin. Huamin definitely won't be able to open it. If there's nothing else, you can leave. He waved his hand and dismissed Wu Xiaoxue. Wu Xiaoxue was so angry that she turned around and left. She slammed the door hard in protest of her uncle's decision. The dean's male assistant asked, "Dean, why don't you just tell Miss Wu what you're worried about?" The power of the person behind Huamin. Telling her would only cause more trouble. It's better not to. President Wu had protected Huamin time and time again because he admired her talent. But in the end, he was still worried about Qin Chu's existence. His idiot niece kept clamoring for Huamin to be fired. If he really did that, then he would be an idiot. When Huamin returned to the hospital, everything was calm and peaceful. The OB/GYN department was back to its usual busy state. After work, she did not go straight home. Instead, she went to an address given to her by a pregnant woman. Sure enough, she saw the woman's back from afar. She was wearing revealing clothes and her butt swayed as she walked. She quietly followed behind her until she reached the corridor. She quickly walked up and blocked her way. "Hi, He-Man, long time no see." Huamin smiled. "Huamin, why are you here?" Huamin's eyes were filled with fear. Chapter 182. You didn't expect me to find you so quickly, did you? What do you mean? I don't understand. He-Man turned her head away, feeling a little guilty. Actually, I'm quite confused. Why do you have to be so hostile towards me? It seems like Ning Jiyuan is the one who hurt you. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. Why do you have to do something so despicable behind my back? I don't understand what you're talking about. Move aside, I want to go home. He-Man didn't seem to want to talk to Huamin any longer. However, Huamin stood in front of her, with no intention of moving aside. You're pretty good. You set up a trap and fooled everyone. That couple was fooled by you, and Wu Xiaoxue even took the blame. Then, you set me up and put me at the center of the storm. You really killed two birds with one stone. Unfortunately, you underestimated me, Huamin. What evidence do you have to say that I did it? Isn't it true that you secretly operated on a pregnant woman? He-Man sneered. It's true that it's the truth, but it's not good if someone distorts the truth. Yuan Fonfen already told me the truth. You probably didn't expect me to find you so quickly. You thought that your plan was very thorough, right? Words are no proof. I won't admit it. You can't do anything to me. He-Man raised her head. She seemed to know that even if the plan was exposed, she would shirk all responsibility. When the time came, she would just let the couple take the blame. In the past, I thought that you were quite pitiful because of all the tragedies that happened to you. Now, I think that a woman like you should experience those tragedies because it's retribution, Huimin said word by word. Perhaps because Huimin angered her, He-Man immediately raised her head and tried to hit Huimin. However, Huimian blocked her with one hand and pinned her against the wall with the other hand, choking her with the other. I hate despicable people who play tricks behind their backs the most. Either you challenge me directly, or you scram far away from me. He-Man, you might not know this, but if I want you to live a life worse than death, I have 1,000 ways to do so. This is a warning. Next time, I won't be so gentle. Remember this, or else your end will only be worse than now. After speaking, Huimin released his grip, turned around, and left. He-Man only felt that her legs were still trembling. For a moment, she really thought that she was going to die. Huimin gripped her neck tightly. His grip was so strong that she almost suffocated. However, Huimin's control of his strength was just right. When she was about to die, he let go of her. She had never seen Huimin's eyes before. She used to think that Huimin was easy to deal with and that Wu Xiaoxue was the troublesome one. Now, it seemed that Wu Xiaoxue was a simple-minded idiot and Huimin was the terrifying opponent. After He-Man resigned, she still kept in touch with the nurses at the hospital. After she accidentally heard about Huimin's surgery, she wanted to take the opportunity to take revenge on the hospital. At the same time, she wanted to ruin Wu Xiaoxue and Huimin's reputation. Of course, after everything was over, Yuan Fonfen's husband promised to give her 100,000 yuan as compensation. That was why she came up with this plan. She didn't think that not only would her plan fail, but Huimin would also find out about it. The warning just now really scared her. She didn't dare to imagine how a person like Huimin would fall in love with a useless piece of trash like Ning Jiyuan. The next morning, as soon as Huimin arrived at the hospital, Huang Yu grabbed her hand and said, "Senior, did you see the announcement from the hospital? You've been transferred to the South Recuperation Area under the hospital." "I know. Then how can you still laugh? The South Recuperation Area is the most difficult place to work in history. No one wants to go there. Go find the head nurse and ask her to help you talk to the director. Don't be transferred there. I was the one who told the director that I wanted to be transferred to the South Recuperation Area." Huimin smiled slightly. "What? You asked for it? Are you crazy? Senior, why do you want to go to the South Recuperation Area?" Huang Yu was completely dumbfounded. The South Recuperation Area, as the management unit of the first hospital, was famous for being difficult to deal with. That was because the people who lived there were all big shots in the province, rich people, and super-rich people. Those people were very difficult to deal with. It was often heard that medical staff were beaten and scolded. It was said that last month, there was a doctor who said something wrong and had 4 of his teeth knocked out by a patient. In the end, the case was left unsettled. The patient had money, so they paid him to keep his mouth shut. Huang Yu didn't understand. Why would Huimin want to go to such a notorious place? Chapter 183. I just feel that I wouldn't be able to stay even if the director allows me to. But I don't want to transfer to another hospital either. After all, a good leader like President Wu is rare, and the South is under the director's management. I just mentioned it to him, and he was against it at first. He was worried that I wouldn't be able to handle the work pressure there, but he agreed in the end because I insisted. But you don't have to torture yourself like this. Senior, if you don't want to stay in this hospital, you can apply to transfer to the Western Infertility Area. I heard that there's a shortage of manpower there, Huang Yu suggested. Huimian immediately waved her hand. When I was working in the OB/GYN department, although it was tiring, it was relaxing because we were welcoming new lives every day. If I were to go to the West, I might as well be dead. Seeing so many couples without children running to the hospital all day long and suffering, I think I would be depressed after a while. The working environment has a lot to do with one's mood. There are a lot of people in the Southside Recuperation Center doing rehabilitation, so the work pressure isn't that great. Plus, I heard that the pay there is the highest, 3 times my monthly salary here. Huamin wasn't lying. Huamin hadn't become an official employee yet, so she only made about 2,000 yuan a month. But it was said that a nurse in the southern recuperation area could make 6 to 7,000 yuan a month. But thinking about it, serving those rich people naturally had to be paid well. Otherwise, who would be willing to do such hard work? Come on, you're not someone who cares about the monthly salary. You only know how to brush me off. Although Huang Yu didn't know why Huamin insisted on going to the southern area, she knew that it wasn't for the money. Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. Huang Yu reluctantly put her arms around her neck. Senior, I'll miss you a lot. After working with you for so long, I really can't bear to let you go. If it wasn't for the bad reputation in the southern area, I really want to take you with me. Forget it, I'm not going. I'd rather resign than go to the southern area. Huang Yu immediately waved her hand. Huamin joked, but I heard that many young and beautiful nurses are willing to go there to find a rich husband. Forget about the rich husband. It's not that easy to marry into a rich family. Most of them end up being someone's mistress or plaything. They pay for it with money, but we pay for it with our feelings. I won't do such an unfair deal. It's not worth it. Huamian patted Huang Yu's shoulder happily. You're right, people shouldn't be too greedy. It's not easy to stay in a rich family. Look at those actresses on TV. After they marry into rich families, they don't dare to complain about domestic violence. They can only endure it. Instead of living a life of oppression, it's better to live a carefree life. Huamin nodded. Huamin's transfer to the southern area was announced to the hospital. At the same time, she was promoted to an official employee. She was no longer an intern. Her colleagues in the OB/GYN department, the head nurse, and Chief Han from the laboratory suggested that they have dinner with Huamin to say goodbye. Huamin couldn't refuse their kindness, so she booked a hotel in advance and went there with everyone after work. During dinner, she sent a message to Qin Chu to tell him that she would be back later. She didn't receive a reply. After dinner, everyone was in high spirits and went to karaoke. By the time they were done, it was already 11 o'clock at night. After Huamin sent everyone off, she reached out to hail a taxi. Unexpectedly, before the taxi could reach her, a Maybach took her lane. Are all taxis so luxurious these days? Huamin mumbled to herself drunkenly. How much did you drink? You can't even recognize my car. Qin Chu rolled down the window with a dark face. Chapter 184. When Qin Chu got out of the car, Huamin recognized him and giggled. Hey, it's you. Why are you here? Qin Chu's face darkened and he didn't say anything. He picked up Huamin and put him in the passenger seat. Then, he put on the seatbelt and drove away. When Qin Chu came back from work, it was almost 10 o'clock. He even went to the Qin family's mansion today. His father was interested in a 5 billion yuan project, so he wanted to discuss it with Qin Chu. In the end, the father and son had different opinions and the discussion fell apart. When Qin Chu came out, he called Huamin's phone. At that time, Huamin went to the washroom and Huang Yu picked up. Huang Yu had drunk a lot, so she vaguely told him the address of the karaoke club. Then, Qin Chu knew that he was there. He waited at the door for about an hour before Huamin came out. She was walking like an S, but she still had the time to take a taxi for someone else. She waited for everyone to leave before it was her turn. How crazy was his wife? Wasn't she afraid of being robbed and raped by those unlicensed taxi drivers? How could she call herself a genius? Didn't she have any sense of safety? She couldn't believe that he let the pregnant woman's husband go because she thanked him passionately on TV and got the insurance company to withdraw the lawsuit. He was so considerate of her, but she drank herself into a drunken cat. Drink some water first. Qin Chu opened a bottle of Evian water and handed it to her. Huamian gulped down 2 mouthfuls of water and then spat it out. She spat it all on the driver's seat and spilled it all over Qin Chu's pants. This was a limited edition Versace pants that cost more than 100,000 yuan. More importantly, Qin Chu was a germaphobe. How could she spit on him? Was it really okay? Huamion. Qin Chu gritted his teeth and roared. Here. Damn it. You're not allowed to drink in the future. Qin Chu didn't know what to say after holding back for a long time. He wanted to scold her, but he couldn't bear to do it. In the end, he could only warn her not to drink in the future. It was really an eye-opener for him to see how quickly one could get drunk. No, I like it. It's delicious. Haha, red wine mixed with Sprite tastes better than black tea. Huamin leaned back in his seat and mumbled. Qin Chu was too lazy to say more. He stepped on the accelerator and the car quickly overtook the other car. They arrived in a few minutes. After getting out of the car, Qin Chu carried Huamin and went upstairs without saying a word. In the bathroom on the second floor, after filling the tub with water, he tossed Huamin into the tub. Give me a good soak. Qin Chu's face was full of anger. I want bubbles. Why aren't there any bubbles here? Huamin pursed his lips and started splashing water with his hands. Qin Chu controlled his temper. He picked up the shower gel and poured it in. Instantly, white bubbles appeared. Qin Chu squatted down and reached out to test the water temperature. It was just right. He was about to get up. Huamin suddenly splashed the water, splashing Qin Chu all over. Qin Chu angrily pressed down on Huamin's arms in the water and warned, "Don't move. Take a good bath. Huh. Your eyelashes are so beautiful." After speaking, Huamin leaned over and placed his warm lips on Qin Chu's eyelashes, gently teasing them. Qin Chu felt like his inner line of defense was collapsing little by little. He really wanted to have her right here, right now, but she was drunk and not sober. He definitely couldn't. That was what he thought, but his body couldn't move even half a step. Let me tell you a secret, Qin Chu. Do you know what I thought when I first saw you? Huamin drunkenly leaned her head on Qin Chu's shoulder and sniffed randomly. Qin Chu's heart skipped a beat. He seemed to be anticipating this answer. Would her answer be the same as his? Did she think he was her husband when she first saw him? Chapter 185. At the time, I was wondering who would be so unlucky to marry such a handsome man. Ha ha ha. After saying this, Huamin giggled. She didn't even notice that Qin Chu's face had turned green. Was it so unlucky to be his wife? How could she say that he was handsome? This damned girl was getting bolder as she got older. If Huamin wasn't drunk, he would have thrown her out of the 16th floor. Ooh! Huamin couldn't help but vomit again. This time, Qin Chu wasn't spared. However, compared to the last time, he was much calmer and wasn't angry anymore. He took off all of Huamin's clothes and threw them into the bathroom in another room. After taking a shower for her, he took a shower himself. Finally, he used the automatic washing machine to wash their dirty clothes. It was already 2 in the morning when they did this last night. Qin Chu got into bed tiredly and saw that Huamin was already sleeping like a pig. He sighed slightly. Perhaps he owed her in his previous life. No matter how angry he was, as long as he saw her, his anger would immediately disappear. The next morning when Huamin woke up, Qin Chu had already prepared a Western breakfast. There were sandwiches, fried eggs, and warm milk. Ooh! Last night. Huamin said awkwardly. Last night when I picked you up, you vomited twice in my car and in the bathroom. I took off your clothes for you, washed your bath, and dried your dirty clothes, Qin Chu said in one breath. Huamin's face became redder and redder as he listened. He actually helped her take a shower. Didn't that mean he saw everything? Last night. You seemed to have a hard time. Huamin sat at the dining table and slowly drank the warm milk. If you know it was hard for me, you should drink less in the future. Actually, I didn't drink that much, haha. Huamin laughed. Of course, if Qin Chu found out that she drank 3 bottles of red wine, 2 bottles of beer, and 1 bottle of wine, Qin Chu would definitely beat her to death. I don't have to go to work today. It's Sunday, so I'm off. Starting tomorrow, I'll be working at the South Recuperation Center, Huamin said slowly. Qin Chu wasn't interested in her job transfer. He only nodded. The South is a bit far. I need to change the car twice. It'll take about 45 minutes. Huamin didn't think it was hard at all. So, Qin Chu's, Huamion's, Suddenly, Huomion's. Huomion felt guilty and didn't dare to say anything else. I won't object to you working at night. After all, it's your job and your freedom. But, I respect you, and you have to respect me. So, what do you mean? How should I respect you? Huomin could tell that Qin Chu was implying something. You can drive the white Volkswagen CC. It'll save you a lot of time when you drive to and from work. If you take the South Ring Highway, it'll only take you 18 minutes. But Huomin didn't seem to want to drive to work in such a high-profile manner. It's settled then, Qin Chu announced before Huomin could finish. After dinner, let's go out for a bit. Where are we going? Huomin was surprised. Gao Ran wants to treat us to dinner. Huh. But I've already made plans to have dinner with Lingling, Huomion said awkwardly. Sure, the four of us can eat together, Qin Chu suggested. Eat together? Is that really okay? Huomin was surprised by Qin Chu's suggestion. Chapter 186. Although Huomin felt that it was weird for the four of them to eat together, Qin Chu insisted, so she didn't say anything. Qin Chu had booked the restaurant. It was Phoenix Restaurant, an ancient and traditional restaurant. The decor was also very classical. Most of the dishes were smoked and roasted. The specialty was the secret salted crispy chicken. It was said that the restaurant's secret ingredient was marinated for a day and a night, then slowly roasted over a small fire until it was golden brown. It was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. The aroma could be smelled from afar. It was also a must-order dish for every customer here. Qin Chu had always been resourceful. When he ate in this restaurant, there were usually no seats available. Qin Chu and the other three not only had seats, but they also sat in the best private room. After that, they ordered more than a dozen specialties. When Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling arrived, they coincidentally met downstairs. They hadn't seen each other for a long time, so they naturally had to be sarcastic when they saw each other. Gao Ran's black Jaguar took up 2 parking spaces. Zhu Lingling's Mazda had no place to park, so it was inevitable that she would complain. Just as she was about to get out of the car to reason with the owner, she saw Gao Ran. Why are you here? Zhu Lingling frowned. Hi, Zhu Lingling, long time no see. Gao Ran knew in advance that he was going to eat with Zhu Lingling and Huomin, so he wasn't surprised at all. Hurry up and move your broken car. It's taking up 2 parking spaces. How rude are you? Didn't you say that you were boycotting Japanese products when we were in school? Why did you buy a Japanese car? Gao Ran retorted. Zhu Lingling rolled her eyes at him and said, when the 8-Nation Alliance invaded China, Britain and America were the most active. Why did you buy a Jaguar? Haha, you don't understand, right? The Jaguar was sold to India by Ford during the 2008 financial crisis. It's now an Indian car. Please explain it to me later. An Indian car? Zhu Lingling glared at Gao Ran and reversed the car. Coincidentally, a car was leaving, so she stopped. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling entered the private room one after the other. Huomin smiled and said, It's been so long since we last met. Didn't you two catch up? How is that possible? I'm not familiar with this egomaniac. Zhu Lingling immediately tried to clear her name. Gao Ran glanced at her. You speak as if I've pursued you before. Don't think that you're superior just because you're a stewardess. That's still better than you stinky cops. You take our taxpayers' money and do nothing. As expected, the two of them quarreled as soon as they met. Huomin felt a headache coming on. Damn Qin Chu for coming up with such a rotten idea. But now, he was leisurely playing with his phone and watching the show. Have you ordered? Gao Ran asked. Huomin nodded and said to the waiter at the door, You can serve the dishes now. I said that I'll pay the bill today. Chu, don't fight with me, Gao Ran said righteously. Okay, I definitely won't fight with you. Qin Chu's mouth twitched. He was in a good mood. When she heard that Gao Ran was paying the bill, Zhu Lingling rolled her eyes and shouted, Waiter, do you have red wine? Yes, ma'am. Which one would you like? I want the most expensive one. 1 bottle. Okay, please wait a moment. Zhu Lingling looked down and flipped through the menu. She found that the most expensive red wine cost 3,888 yuan a bottle. Gao Ran smiled and said, "Is one bottle enough? How about another? Who's afraid? Waiter, give me 2 bottles of that wine." Zhu Lingling said angrily, "You can order a few bottles, but I hate wasting. I hope you can finish them all." Gao Ran smiled evilly. "Of course. Lingling, can you finish it?" Huamin secretly tugged at the corner of her shirt. "Even if I can't finish it, there's still you, the god of wine, right? I heard that you guys drank a lot last night. How many bottles did you drink this time? Did you drink more than 5? Huamin immediately covered Zhu Lingling's mouth with his hand, indicating that she shouldn't say anything more. He was afraid that someone would explode. At this moment, Qin Chu put away his phone and said word by word, "People who can't handle alcohol well should have some self-awareness. Don't force yourself. Were you drunk last night? Did you forget yourself?" Zhu Lingling looked at Huamin with an evil expression. Before Huamin could answer, Gao Ran suddenly interrupted, "So the 2 of you must have been very intense last night? I want to know what position you used. Was it the man on top and the woman on the bottom, or the woman on top and the man on the bottom?" Chapter 187. Huamin angrily glared at Gao Ran and asked, "As a police officer, is it really okay for you to be so dirty?" Qin Chu faintly said, "The quality of China's police force really needs to be improved." The husband and wife echoed each other and belittled Gao Ran. Gao Ran wasn't angry. Instead, he smiled and said, "Stop talking nonsense. You haven't answered me yet. Answer your ass. We're very pure. It's not what you think it is. It's not what I think it is. Then it's like this. Traditional positions." Gao Ran's curiosity was off the charts. He was guessing the couple's private matters in public. It was outrageous. "Lingling, look at this guy. Isn't he still as mean as before? It's such a pity that he's a police officer. He should be a paparazzi. I bet he can make celebrities cry." Huamin sighed. He thought that Zhu Lingling would say a few words for him and rebuke Gao Ran. Who knew that she would say, "Gao Ran isn't wrong." This time, Huamin was completely speechless. "You two have a lot of chemistry. Why don't you two be husband and wife?" Qin Chu glared at Zhu Lingling. He suddenly remembered that a few days ago, because of her phone call, he ruined the beautiful scene. He was so angry that his teeth were itching. "Forgive me. Who would want a woman like you?" Gao Ran immediately retorted. "Don't worry. Even if you kneel down and beg me, I won't marry you. Even if all the men in the world died and there was only you and a pig left, I still wouldn't choose you," Zhu Lingling said through gritted teeth. Gao Ran burst out laughing. "Then your taste is quite heavy, you." Zhu Lingling wanted to continue arguing, but Huamin reached out and stopped her. If they didn't stop it, they wouldn't be able to eat this meal. It was all Qin Chu's bad idea. Why did they have to eat together? After the meal, Huamin and Zhu Lingling were supposed to act alone. However, Qin Chu didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. "Shall we split up here?" Huamin suggested. "Where are you going?" Before Huamin could speak, Zhu Lingling said, "We both want to go to Hero Valley. It must be very exciting, huh?" Hero Valley? Qin Chu seemed to have never heard of this place. Gao Ran immediately explained, "Oh, that place. It's known as the 2nd largest amusement park in Asia. I heard that the Giant Group invested more than 5 billion to build it. There's something like the longest roller coaster in Asia. Many children like to play there. Let's get in the car." Qin Chu glanced at Huamin and said, "What's going on?" Huamin was dumbfounded. Did Qin Chu mean that he had to go as well? In the end, the 4 of them drove 3 cars to Hero Valley. Because it was the weekend, there were a lot of people. Huamin decided to save time, so he didn't line up one by one. Instead, he chose the drop tower and roller coaster. After the 4 of them got off the roller coaster, Gao Ran's legs turned to jelly. His face was pale, and he wanted to throw up. "What? Are you scared? Is there anything more exciting?" Zhu Lingling laughed. "Are you okay?" Huamin looked at Qin Chu worriedly. Qin Chu looked calm on the surface, but on the inside, he was devastated. However, he wouldn't show it. Especially in front of his wife and his wife's best friend. Let's go to the drop tower. I heard that it has a height of 88 meters. Just thinking about it makes me excited, Zhu Lingling said. You guys are too strong. I'm not going. I'll take photos for you guys. Gao Ran begged for mercy. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just followed Huamin silently. When they got off the drop tower, Zhu Lingling and Huamin's lips turned purple. She was sure that if they had a heart attack, they would die immediately. It was too scary. The feeling of going up and down, and then losing your center of gravity was too exciting. Fortunately, Qin Chu persisted until the end. As long as Huamin wanted to go, he didn't seem to have any objections. After that, the four of them found a Thai restaurant to eat. During the meal, Gao Ran suddenly asked, I heard that you got the insurance company to withdraw the lawsuit and let that scumbag go, right? Yes. Qin Chu nodded. Insurance company? Huamin raised his head. He was a little sensitive when he heard this word. Don't tell me you don't know. Know what? Huamin asked. Gao Ran glanced at Qin Chu, then looked at Huamin and said, Your husband paid over 10 million yuan for your life insurance. Don't tell me you don't know. Clang. Huamin's fork fell on the plate. She didn't expect Gao Ran's words. Chapter 188. What's going on? What's 10 million insurance? It sounds cool, Zhu Lingling interjected excitedly. Huamin glanced sideways at Qin Chu. What is it? It's nothing, it's just an accident insurance policy for you. How much is the policy? Huamin asked. It's only tens of millions. Only tens of millions? Rich people are really capricious. Zhu Lingling was flabbergasted. Why do you have to pay for this? You're already so rich, why do you still need the insurance company to compensate you? Huamin frowned. He didn't quite understand Qin Chu's logic. Gao Ran rushed to answer, You don't understand. Chu, it's not because you want the insurance company to compensate you. If you get injured in an accident and the other party can't come up with a huge amount of compensation, the insurance company will sue you. When the time comes, the court will decide that it's intentional assault. The light punishment will be a few years in jail, while the serious punishment could be a few decades. After hearing Gao Ran's words, Huamin and Zhu Lingling were both dumbfounded. Huamin finally understood why the pregnant woman's husband was detained. It was because of the insurance policy. So, when you hurt your head this time, your husband put a heavy insurance policy on your head. If the other party can't come up with 50 million, they'll have to go to jail for at least 5 to 10 years. The insurance company will also compensate you. So, you have to be careful when you walk in the future. If you bump into anything, the insurance company will cry, Gao Ran said with a smile. Huamin looked at Qin Chu in silence. Qin Chu acted as if this matter had nothing to do with him. He took out his phone and looked at the company's emails. Zhu Lingling gave him a thumbs up and praised, China's best husband. You didn't tell me these things. Huamin pouted. He felt wronged. You don't need to know these things. You just need to know that no matter who hurts you in the future, they won't have a good ending. Qin Chu looked up and said word by word. If you spoil her like this, won't she cheat on you and cheat on you? Gao Ran joked. Then, Huamin and Qin Chu looked at him with murderous gazes at the same time. After dinner, they all went home. After Huamin made her bed, she couldn't calm on her mind. It was unbelievable that Qin Chu had given her such a huge insurance policy. Why did this person do things so unconventionally? Just as she was thinking, Qin Chu opened the door and handed her a bunch of keys. Take this, drive it tomorrow. Qin Chu, don't be too nice to me. You're my wife. If I don't treat you well, who else would I treat well? Qin Chu said confidently. But if you're so nice to me, I'll be proud. Then keep being proud. As long as you're happy, you can do whatever you want. Qin Chu. Huamin wanted to say, if you're so nice to me, how could I bear to part with you when we get divorced? But, she didn't say it. If she brought up divorce at a time like this, Wouldn't Chin Chu be disappointed? The next morning after breakfast, the couple went out together. Huamin drove a white Volkswagen CC. It was very eye-catching, even though it wasn't a luxury car. But the design was definitely cool. At the fork in the road, Chin Chu was supposed to turn, but he continued to follow behind Huamin. Huamin took out her earphones and dialed Chin Chu's number. "You're going the wrong way. This is the road to Dugger, not the company. You can turn around from the turn in front. After you get back to the main road, you can head towards New Moon Road." "I know. Then why did you go the wrong way? Are you out of your mind, Mr. Chin?" Huamin was speechless at Chin Chu's arrogant reply. Chapter 189. I'm going to meet a client at South Ring Road. "Oh, I see." Huamin hung up the phone and focused on driving. Chin Chu didn't leave until the car drove into Southside Recuperation Center. Actually, he wasn't meeting a client, he was just worried because it was Huamin's first day driving. Huamin was originally worried that a nurse driving to work would cause gossip. She only realized that she was wrong when she arrived at Southside. The other nurses who came to work all drove luxury cars, such as BMWs, Land Rovers, and Mercedes-Benz GLK. In comparison, her Volkswagen was shabby. Why were the nurses here so rich? The answer was obvious. Most of the nurses here were young and beautiful. When they took care of the patients, they were either mistresses or mistresses. Some even provided special services in the hospital. Even President Wu couldn't control this, because the people in the recuperation center were all influential people. If they were willing to buy, they were willing to sell. They had already formed a mature industry chain. Of course, there were also some nurses who were really just nurses, so they had to do dirty and tiring work all day long without earning much money. Huamin was one of those nurses who had a hard time. After she went upstairs, she first reported to the head nurse. The head nurse of Southside Recuperation Center was a woman in her early 30s. She was young and beautiful, and her chest was at least 36D. Her voice was also very gentle, and her name was also very pleasant to the ear. "Song Lin." She said, "Huamin, I heard about what happened to you and saw you on the news. You saved that pregnant woman and her child. You're amazing." "Thank you, head nurse. Work hard here from now on. You just have to remember, you'd rather suffer than offend the patients here. If you remember this, your salary will be very high." Huamin didn't quite understand what she said. "Head nurse, I want to ask, which department am I assigned to?" Huamin couldn't wait to get to work. "The orthopedics department is short on people, so you can help out there for now." "Okay, I'll head over now." "Wait. Is there anything else?" "Head nurse. A very important patient was admitted to the orthopedics department yesterday. You have to take care of him carefully when you're on duty. Don't make any mistakes. Don't blame me for not reminding you. If you offend him, even President Wu can't protect you, let alone me." "All right, I'll do my best." Huamin felt that as long as the patient did not deliberately cause trouble, she could pacify them. Most of the patients in the hospital were anxious. This was understandable. After all, they were not feeling well. Therefore, Huamin was very patient. When she was in the obstetrics and gynecology department, she took care of the pregnant women diligently. Patients from the orthopedics department should not have any problems, right? There were a total of 10 VIP wards in the orthopedics department, but there were only 2 patients at the moment. Including Huamin, there were 4 nurses. 2 were on the day shift and 2 were on the night shift, which was just right. The nurse on the day shift with Huamin was a very sweet-looking girl. Her voice was so sweet that it could melt people as soon as she opened her mouth. Huamin thought that she was only 18 or 19 years old. Later, she found out that she was 25 years old, 1 year older than Huamin. "Hello, my name is Wang Tingting," the nurse with the childlike voice said with a smile. "Hello, Tingting. My name is Huamin. I know, you're very famous. I saw you on TV a while ago." Upon hearing this, Huamin smiled awkwardly. That time on TV was not something to be proud of. Because of this, her mother called her and asked her to quit her job. Jixin also kept sending her WeChat messages. Fortunately, it was resolved. Otherwise, her family would have to worry about her. Did the head nurse tell you that a special patient was admitted to our department yesterday? Chapter 190. Okay. Huamin nodded. Here's the thing. You don't have enough experience. Go take care of the other one first. That old man is a nice person and won't trouble you. I'll take care of VIP room 1. Okay. Huamin was very satisfied with the arrangement, although she did not know that it was Tingting's selfish arrangement. There are only 4 people in our department for the time being. Because there aren't many patients, it's enough. The night shift nurses are called Nan Nan and Xiaomai. You'll see them when the shift changes. Okay. If there's no problem, then go. The old man in room 2 slipped and fractured his bones at home. There are 3 steel nails in his knee, so it's not very convenient for him to walk. He needs support. Also, when it's time to eat, prepare vegetarian dishes for him. Don't eat meat. His blood pressure is high. Okay. Huamin kept all these in mind. It was time for ward rounds, so she went directly to room 2. Before she could say a few words to the old man, she heard banging sounds coming from next door, followed by crying. Huamin walked out of the ward curiously and saw Tingting standing at the door of room 1. Her eyes were red. What's wrong? It's nothing. Just do what you need to do. Tingting did not seem to want to talk much. Huamin glanced at the door of room 1 curiously and continued with her work. The old man in room 2 was a retired cadre. It was said that he used to be a staff officer in the security department and was very powerful. He had a serious face. When Huamin entered, he was reading a novel version of Drawing Sword. Hello, sir. I'm a new nurse. It's time to take your medicine. It's rare to see someone dressed so plainly. The old man glanced at Huamin and said. Huamin only realized after the old man's reminder that her work uniform was different from others. Her work uniform was brought from the first hospital. It was a very conservative white coat that was loose and did not have any sense of beauty. However, the nurses here, including the head nurse, Song Lin, were all wearing light pink miniskirts. The most important thing was that the collar was very low. It felt a little like a uniform temptation. After hearing Sir System's words, Huamin realized that he was dressed differently. During lunch break, the head nurse came over with a set of work clothes. How is it? Are you used to it? Yes, the patient's mood is very stable, and he is recovering well. That's good. Change into your work clothes. This place is different from the first hospital. After speaking, the head nurse took off her pink miniskirt. Head nurse, can I wear my own outfit? Why? Don't you think it's beautiful? No, I just think it's a little revealing. I don't like this style, Huamin said honestly. The head nurse looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. I heard that you applied to Southside on your own accord. Yes. Then didn't you come to the Southern District for a meteoric rise? You should dress boldly. Otherwise, which sugar daddy would take a fancy to you? The head nurse was straightforward. Only then did Huamin realize that the head nurse had misunderstood and thought that she was here to find a sugar daddy. You misunderstood, head nurse. I applied to come here because I wanted a change of working environment. After all, I didn't want to drag the other side down. However, I'm here to work. I didn't expect to find a sugar daddy. Plus, I have a boyfriend. Oh, I see. All right then, if that's the case, it's up to you. Hearing Huamin's words, the head nurse took away her work clothes. When it was time for the night shift, the other 2 young nurses came as well. However, Huamin heard that the 2 of them seemed to be arguing about who should go to room 1. From what he could tell, they both wanted to go to room 1. Huamin had a feeling that room 1 was probably occupied by someone important. Otherwise, Tingting would not have volunteered to go there in the morning, and the 2 of them fought over it in the afternoon. In the end, Nan Nan and Xiaomai played rock, paper, scissors, and Nan Nan lost. Xiaomai was in a great mood. She did not even eat dinner and went to room 1. That night, Huamin prepared dinner for Qin Chu. Just as he was sitting on the sofa watching TV, he received a call from Southside. Huamin, Hurry up and come over. Something happened in our department. After hanging up the phone, Huamin hurriedly grabbed his jacket and went out. He happened to run into Qin Chu downstairs. Where are you going? Something happened at the hospital. I'm going to take a look. Dinner's ready, eat it while it's hot. After speaking, Huamin left in a hurry. Qin Chu looked at the petite figure and was reluctant to part with her until she disappeared. Chapter 191. When Huamin arrived at the hospital, Xiaomai was nowhere to be seen. Only the head nurse, Nannan, and Tingting were there. What happened? Where's Xiaomai? Isn't she on the night shift? She's injured. Huh? Huamin was a little surprised to hear Tingting say this. Huamin was a little surprised. The head nurse hesitated for a moment before saying, "It's like this, the patient in room 1 is a little irritable. When Xiaomai was drawing his blood, she was too nervous and her hand trembled, causing the needle to move. In a fit of anger, the patient threw a glass vase at Xiaomai's head. Xiaomai was sent to the emergency room of the first hospital. That's terrible. I heard that she had to get 7 stitches on her forehead. I wonder if she'll be disfigured." Nannan seemed to be gloating. Tingting pursed her lips and said in a strange tone, "I told you that room 1 wasn't that easy to stay in, and you two were fighting over it. Great, now you're in trouble." Xiaomai's technique was bad to begin with, but she still dared to draw young Master Su's blood. She's asking for it. But it's fine, young Master Su has always been generous. As soon as something happened, his assistant arrived. "I heard that Xiaomai's injury will be compensated according to the number of stitches, 200,000 per stitch," the head nurse said calmly. Tingting and Nannan seemed to be jealous. She's so lucky to earn 1.4 million so easily. She even got the money for a Porsche. Looks like Xiaomai's crappy BMW X1 is finally going to be replaced. Wait a minute, so you're looking for me because... Huamin had already gotten off work. She came here in the middle of the night not to listen to them flaunt their wealth, but to ask how she could help. The head nurse glanced at her and said, "The person in room 1 is Su Yu. You must know Su Yu, right?" Huamin shook her head. Then, the other 3 looked at Huamin as if they were looking at a monster. Huamin, on the other hand, was calm. There were plenty of big shots in the city that she didn't know, so why would she want to know them? "Are you sure? You don't know the head of the 4 princes of the Su family? Are you from the countryside?" Tingting was speechless. "That's right. Among the 4 young masters, the most famous one is Su Yu, followed by young master Huasiqian. You actually don't know him? You must be drunk." Nannan also had a mocking look on her face. Huamin really wanted to say that she didn't want to know Huasiqian, but she was too lazy to mention it. She didn't want anyone to know about her relationship with the Hua family. "So, Su Yu is staying in room 1. So what?" Huamin continued to ask. "Young Master Su has a bad temper. He strained his ligament when he was racing. It's not a big deal, but the Su family takes it seriously and sent him here last night for treatment. We use the best medicine, and everything he eats is flown in from Australia. We can't make any mistakes when taking care of him. They're still young, so their skills aren't that good. You've been doing clinical trials at the first hospital, especially when you performed a C-section on a pregnant woman. So, drawing blood and giving 4 fluids shouldn't be a problem. We're thinking that you'll be in charge of these needles in the future." After the head nurse finished speaking, Huamin understood that they wanted her to do these things that no one else dared to do. In other words, the one who was most likely to offend someone was Xiaomai. She didn't do a good job in drawing blood and was smashed by young Master Su and had to get 7 stitches. Therefore, no one else dared to do anything. Thus, they thought of the newcomer, Huamin. Seeing that Huamin didn't say anything, the head nurse continued, "I won't let you do it for free. I'll ask the higher-ups to give you an extra 200 yuan a day." Yeah. Sister Huamin, you should agree, right? Otherwise, our department will really be wiped out by young Master Su. Huamin suddenly understood. Other than being young and beautiful, the other 3 nurses in the department didn't have any experience at all. They didn't even dare to draw blood. "Okay, I'll do it." "That's great. Seeing that Huamin agreed, the other 2 young nurses let out a sigh of relief. Then, Sister Huamin, this is an 4 drip. You can give it to young Master Su. Ting immediately took out a tray with syringes and an 4 drip. Huamin changed into a white coat, took the tray, and walked towards room 1. Head nurse, can she do it? A young nurse asked worriedly. Who knows? It depends on her luck. Even if she gets beaten, she won't be beaten for nothing. Young Master Su is super rich. The head nurse smiled. Chapter 192. Huamin didn't know who Su Yu was, so he wasn't as worried as the other nurses. Ting had seen how terrifying young Master Su was this morning. He yelled at her during ward rounds, and she burst into tears. Of course, they all had their own selfish motives. They wanted to use their beauty to make young Master Su take pity on them. Why would they want to be nurses? Apparently, it was easy for young Master Su's Imperial Star Entertainment to promote a female star. Currently, 2 of the 4 most popular actresses in China were promoted by Su Yu. In short, he threw money at them. Because Su Yu was so rich, he became popular as soon as he promoted them, not to mention the nurses. Wherever Su Yu went, women would rush to him and throw themselves at him. He was different from Qin Chu. Qin Chu was low-key. Although everyone knew that GK had a prince, not many people had seen him in person. Su Yu, on the other hand, was high-profile, flamboyant, and hot-tempered. He changed women faster than he changed clothes. Not only was he the president of an entertainment company, but the Su family also controlled a lot of economic lifelines. He was one of the top 5 richest people in China for 5 years in a row. When Huamin walked to the door, Su Yu was on the phone. He had been racing for many years. He had been tinkering with cars since he was 12 or 13. He had never had an accident. This year, for some reason, he was racing in a mountainous area. His car collided with another car, and he tore his ligament. He had to rest at the Southside Recuperation Center for a while. Everyone's expenses were different here, and they were calculated according to their personal conditions. Su Yu's room was a suite. It was more than 100 square meters, and it had all the appliances and furniture. Even the bed was multifunctional. It had a private Wi-Fi network, and the seafood they ate was flown in from Australia. It was said that it cost at least 190,000 yuan a day. It was practically burning money. There were 4 bodyguards in black suits outside the room. They stood there motionless like mummies. Every 8 hours, they would be replaced by another 4 people. Those who knew would think that a rich man lived inside, but those who didn't would think that it was the head of state. It was too grand. It was Huamin's first time seeing such a high-profile person. When she walked to the door, she had to be scanned, as if she was a female killer. Go in. As soon as Huamin entered, he saw an unidentified flying object flying over. She reacted quickly and tilted her head to avoid being hit. Then, the thing fell to the ground. It was a silver-grey 6S. Scram. Su Yu was not in a good mood. After scolding his assistant on the phone, he said to the person who came in without looking at him. Huamin ignored him. He walked over, connected the 4-tube, and hung it up. I told you to scram, didn't you hear me? What if all the patients tell us to leave? Who will take care of you? If you can take care of yourself, why are you here? Do you think a 5-star hotel is enough? Huamin said snappily. Su Yu frowned slightly. It was the first time in his life that someone dared to speak to him with such an attitude. He wanted to see which nurse was so bold. Was she tired of living? Or was she trying to play hard to get? When he turned around and saw Huamin's face, he was stunned. He had seen her before. In his WeChat moments and on TV, it was exposed a while ago. Aren't you the nurse who performed C-sections for pregnant women? Su Yu stared at Huamin and asked. That's right. Why are you here? Su Yu was surprised. Huamin did not answer. While he was in a daze, she grabbed his left hand and inserted the needle. By the time Su Yu felt a slight sting, she was done. Who told you to give me the 4? Su Yu was furious. Don't move, it's not good if the needle rolls, Huamin reminded him. Take it away, I don't want an injection. Su Yu impatiently reached out to pull out the needle. Then Huamin crossed her arms and looked at him. If you're not afraid that I'll give you another injection, go ahead and pull it out. I'm not the one who's in pain anyway. Su Yu immediately stopped. He raised his head and looked at Huamin with a sullen face. Stupid girl. Do you know who you're talking to? Chapter 193. Huamin ignored him and took out a ballpoint pen from the pocket of his white lab coat. He held the medical record in his hand and said, Mr. Su Yu, right? Get 2 bottles tonight and I'll draw your blood tomorrow morning. You have to be on an empty stomach, so don't eat anything after 8 p.m. You can drink water. After he finished speaking, Huamin walked out. Damn it, get back here. Before Su Yu could finish his sentence, Huamin had already opened the door and left. This was the first time in his life that someone treated his words like farts. No matter what he said or how angry he got, Huamin completely ignored his existence. Are you guys dead yet? Get your ass in here. Su Yu's face was filled with rage. One of the bodyguards immediately ran in. Young master, what's the matter? Are you blind? Pick up the phone on the floor, I want to make a complaint. The quality of the nurses in this hospital is too low. Okay. The bodyguard bent down to pick up the phone and handed it to Su Yu. Su Yu picked it up and saw that the screen was broken. He couldn't make a call. Where's your phone? Give it to me. My phone is charging, the bodyguard replied honestly. Get out, get out. Seeing these idiots, Su Yu was even more annoyed. After Huamin walked out unscathed, the head nurse and the 2 young nurses were surprised. Huamin, are you okay? I'm fine. Huamin shook his head. Young Master Su didn't get angry. I didn't pay attention to his condition, I was only in charge of the 4 drip. Did he get angry? Tingting asked tentatively. Huamin shook his head, I'm not sure, I didn't pay attention. Not bad, well done. The head nurse patted Huamin's shoulder. Head nurse, I'll go back first. I'll come back tomorrow morning to draw his blood. All right, go back. Be careful. After Huamin left, Tingting thought that Su Yu had calmed down a lot, so she pulled down the collar of her nurse uniform. Then, she wiggled her butt and walked in again to deliver dinner. In less than a minute, he was once again thrown out by Su Yu. The food was scattered all over the floor. Su Yu was angry. Why were the nurses so stupid? He couldn't even do such a small thing. That idiot who drew his blood in the morning, he only stared at his arm. The nurse was so frightened that her hand trembled. It hurt so much that she couldn't bear it. Everyone said that he was angry. But the nurse who had just inserted the needle, her technique was not bad. She only felt a little pain after inserting the needle. News of Su Yu throwing a tantrum and overturning the dishes spread. In less than half an hour, Lady Su brought the maid to deliver the food. She was afraid that her son would be wronged, so she scolded the head nurse again. Song Lin scolded her so much that she didn't dare to say a word. After Mrs. Su left, many women came to visit him one after another. There were famous models and actresses. There were socialites and even famous hosts from satellite TV. Without a doubt, they were all here to see Su Yu. Everyone brought food. Some of it was made by themselves, while others specially ordered food from Su Yu's favorite restaurants. Their methods of fighting for favor were shocking. When Huamin returned home, Qin hadn't eaten yet. He was sitting on the sofa, watching the financial news. Why aren't you eating? Let's eat together. Huamin felt a warmth in his heart. He took off his jacket, washed his hands, and the 2 sat at the dining table. How was work today? Qin asked casually. Pretty good. But I heard that the Southside Recuperation Center isn't easy. Many nurses get injured for no reason. It seemed like nothing could escape Qin eyes. Those were just accidents. Take care of yourself. I know. After all, you put a lot of protection on me, Huamin added. Qin couldn't help but smile. It's good that you know. You're busy at work too. Don't worry about me. I'm an adult, I'll be fine. Do you think I'll believe your bullshit? Qin didn't believe that Huamin would take good care of himself. Otherwise, He wouldn't have been blackmailed and blackmailed. If Qin Chu hadn't stopped him, who knew what would have happened to him? Okay. Huamin knew that he wasn't persuasive enough. Oh yeah, buy your brother a car. I heard he likes cars, Qin Chu said casually. Chapter 194. Why do you want to buy him a car all of a sudden? Doesn't he like cars? What does he like? He's still a kid. He's still in school. He can't be high profile, Huamin refused immediately. You can buy a low-key local brand. No, that won't do either. Huamin didn't know that Qin Chu had overheard the conversation between Zhu Lingling and Huamin during dinner yesterday. Qin Chu knew that Huamin hated her brother, so he suddenly wanted to do something for him. However, seeing that Huamin was so insistent, Qin Chu didn't say anything else. After taking a shower, the two of them went to bed. Ever since Qin Chu didn't succeed that day, he was so angry that he had been lying on Huamin's bed. He slept like this for a few days. Occasionally, he would even take advantage of her. It was a blessing in disguise. Qin Chu, can you stop touching me? Huamin was burning with anxiety. Qin Chu's hand was originally on her waist, but sometimes it would inadvertently move up. She was so scared that she didn't dare to move. I can't eat you, but I can't touch you. Qin Chu suddenly felt wronged. Huamin's face instantly turned red. She didn't want to talk about such a dirty topic with him anymore. Then, Qin Chu hugged her from behind and slept like that. Qin Chu's sleep quality was actually very poor. During the 7 years in America, it was probably because he missed Huamin. Therefore, he had always been a light sleeper. He would wake up with even the slightest sound. After returning to China, it was the same. He would often wake up in the middle of the night and smoke a few cigarettes before he could sleep. However, after sleeping with Huamin, he could actually fall into a deep sleep. This was because when he smelled Huamin's body fragrance, he would feel extremely safe and peaceful. Even if the whole world were to collapse, he would not be willing to wake up. In the morning, they went to work separately. Huamin drove the car very steadily, afraid that he would accidentally graze the car. After arriving at the hospital, she quickly changed her clothes and prepared to draw the blood of the patient in room 1. Huamin, you must be careful, the head nurse reminded him. Huamin nodded and entered the ward with the blood-drawing tools. Su Yu was in the middle of a video conference. He leaned against the bed and looked at the other end of the video with a serious expression. Huamin walked over and picked up Su Yu's arm. Suddenly, Su Yu pulled his arm back. Who told you to touch me? I told you yesterday that I would draw blood today. Get out. I don't smoke, Su Yu said coldly. Okay, you don't have to smoke. At worst, you'll just have to stay here for another month. Wait, come back here. Su Yu put down his laptop and shouted when he saw that Huamin was about to leave. Huamin stopped in his tracks and turned around. What did you mean by that? It's obvious. You're not cooperating with the treatment, so you'll definitely recover slower than others. It doesn't matter. I'm not the one staying here. Your family is rich, so you can stay. When Su Yu heard this, he immediately became angry. He thought for a moment and ordered coldly, "Come here and draw my blood." Huamion's lips curled up as she slowly walked over. You better be careful. If I prick you wrong, you'll end up like that nurse. It's not bad. I heard that she got 1.4 million in compensation. Why don't you give me 1 million in compensation as well? I promise that I'll prick you more than her. You. For the first time, Su Yu was so angry that he was speechless. Why are you angry? Did I say something wrong? He pricked you, and you still gave him 1.4 million yuan. Aren't you just looking for trouble with money? Stupid girl. You'll regret it if you offend me, Su Yu warned. Did anyone tell you that it's best not to make enemies with medical staff, especially when you're in the hospital? If I accidentally cause a medical accident, you'll be in big trouble. Do you dare? You'll die an embarrassing death if that happens. What does that matter? I'll drag you down with me. Plus, you're so rich, and I'm just a nurse. After speaking, Huamin pulled out the needle and pouted at Su Yu. Press it down, or else it'll bruise. For some reason, Su Yu listened to her and pressed down on his needle. Do you believe that I can kick you out of the hospital immediately? You can't even survive in Sea City anymore, Suyu said word by word as he looked at Huamin's back. Huamin turned around and smiled brightly. He asked, "Do your parents know that you're so childish?" Chapter 195. Without waiting for Suyu to say anything, Huamin turned around and left, leaving young Master Su alone in the room. What was this? Did someone provoke him? She actually dared to call him childish. What a damn woman. Was she tired of living? Is there anyone breathing outside? Get one of them in here. Suyu roared. Thus, a bodyguard ran in. Young Master, what are your orders? Remember the nurse who just left? Yes. The bodyguard nodded. Yes, remember her face. Don't let her come to my room in the future. Yes, young Master. Suyu pressed down on the needle. He was quite angry. He was famous for his hot temper in the circle. Since he was young, he had been the center of attention. Even his parents had never spoken loudly to him. Later on, the brothers he met also respected him and followed his lead. No matter what decision he made, no one dared to go against him. Later on, he met all kinds of women who wanted to kneel down and lick his boots. He knew that these people were forced by the power and prestige of the Su family. As the only son of the Su family, Suyu had become a rare treasure. Even his grandfather, who was the head of the military, doted on him. His grandfather once said, as long as you don't do anything that goes against humanity's bottom line, your grandfather will always support your decisions." When he was young, because of his unruly temper, he went to the army to gain experience. When he graduated with the best results and was about to be promoted to a regiment commander, he suddenly announced his retirement. After his retirement, he said that he wanted to start a company for fun. However, he didn't want to be the family's bank. Thus, his father gave him 500 million yuan. In just 5 years, Imperial Star Entertainment rapidly rose in the domestic media industry and became an entertainment giant. The company produced countless stars. Last year, they even spent 80 million yuan to sign the popular movie queen, Annie Liang. Imperial Star Entertainment's stock price also soared. Now, their quarterly profits reached 1 billion yuan. The movies they invested in also became box office legends. One had to admit that Suyu had a great business mind. The entire Su family also spoiled this ancestor. As for the women around him, it was as if he was looking at flowers on horseback. Every month, he would change a few women. From movie stars to young models, from socialites to hosts, there were women from all walks of life. None of them did not want to rise to the top. A young lady of the Su family didn't even dare to think about her position. She only wanted to be his lover so that she could enjoy endless glory and wealth. It was said that young Master Su was very generous. He always said that problems that could be solved with money were not problems at all. No matter what, I'll just throw money at you until you're blinded. On the second day after he entered the Southside Recuperation Center, he was tormented by an unknown nurse. Suyu couldn't take it anymore. He ordered the bodyguards to watch over Huamin and forbade him from entering the room. After Huamin successfully drew Suyu's blood, he went to room 2 to take care of the old man. The old man's complexion was quite good. He sat on the bed alone and played chess. Huamin smiled. "Sir, aren't you bored being alone?" "I can't help it if I'm bored. Young people like you don't know these things. You only know about online games and mobile games. My grandson is always at home playing Plants vs. Zombies on his phone." "Haha, it's Plants vs. Zombies." Huamin laughed. He thought that the old man was too cute. Who knows what kind of zombies they are? Anyway, since the advancement of technology, these traditional things have been gradually eliminated. The old man sighed slightly. Huamin walked over and looked at the layout and direction of the chess. He picked up a horse and jumped. The old man looked up and was surprised. "You know how to play chess?" "Just a little." Huamin chuckled. "Come, child, sit down and play a few rounds." The old man was in high spirits. Huamin did not stand on ceremony. He sat opposite the old man and played chess seriously. After 3 rounds, the old man's face was gloomy. Child, you're not telling the truth. How is this just a little? You're clearly an expert in chess. Huamin won 2 out of the 3 rounds. The last round was a draw because Huamin saved the old man's face. The old man had lived for a long time, so how could he not see this? Huamin smiled embarrassedly. In fact, she was not an expert. It was Uncle Jing who taught Jixin when he was young. She watched for a few days and then inexplicably learned it. She had not played it in all these years, but now she found the feeling. Come. That didn't count. Let's continue. The old man seemed to be addicted and refused to give up. At this moment, the head nurse knocked on the door. Huamin, come out for a moment. Chapter 196. Okay. Huamin slowly got up. Sir, I'm going out for a bit. You'll be taking your afternoon nap soon. Don't forget to take the blood pressure medicine before you sleep. Got it. Come back in the afternoon if you're free. We'll continue to play. The old man was full of anticipation like a child. Huamin smiled gently. Okay. After walking out of the door, Huamin saw that the head nurse's expression was not right. What's wrong? Head nurse. When Tingting went to young Master Su's room to clean up, she heard the bodyguards say that young Master Su ordered that you're not allowed to step into the room. There's an 4 drip at night. If you don't go in, I'm really worried that Tingting will mess it up. Xiao Mai already made a mistake. If we make young Master Su unhappy, we'll all be fired. Oh, so that's what it's about. Huamin was extremely calm. Isn't this a big deal? This concerns the fate of our careers. Huamin, do you know? I've been working here since I was 28, and I'm 34 this year. It took me 6 years to become a head nurse. My monthly allowance is about 40,000 yuan, and I still have to pay off my mortgage and car loan. I also have a baby to raise. I can't live without this job. Song Lin was right. She was not complaining about being poor. To her, this job was very important. Although she did not dress well, she had a good reputation in the hospital. She did not get involved with the patients too much. Most importantly, Song Lin was already married and had a child. Her husband was just an ordinary employee. Her daughter was born prematurely and had poor health, so they spent a lot of money. It was not easy for her to raise a family alone. Huamin had heard Tingting mention it before. Therefore, he did not doubt the authenticity of this matter. Don't worry, head nurse. I won't let him find a chance to fire us. But you can't even get in the 4 drip. Tingting and Nan can't do it. I know them too well. The head nurse had been working here for 4 years and had seen all kinds of big shots. Most of the patients would be fine as long as the nurse acted coquettishly and said a few nice words. However, this young Master Su was too hard to please. He didn't care about these things at all. Well, I'll think of something. You don't have to worry about it, Huamin said confidently. Although Huamin had repeatedly assured her, the head nurse was still unsure. She was in a daze the entire afternoon and felt uneasy. When it was time for the night shift, Tingting got off work. Before she got off work, she deliberately reminded him, don't mess up the infusion at night. I know. Huamin nodded. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Huamin carried the infusion equipment toward one. Stop, you can't go in. Why? Huamin asked. Young Master said that you can't take a single step into this room in the future, the 4 bodyguards said in unison. Huamin scanned their old-fashioned faces and said, it's fine if you don't let me in, but if your young master doesn't get treatment in time, his recovery time will be prolonged. If his condition is delayed, the higher-ups will blame me. I will say that you guys stopped me from giving him the 4 drip. Then you can ask someone else to do it. Young Master said that you can't go in, the bodyguard said stubbornly. If someone else could do it well, would I still be needed? Do you think I want to do it? It's not like you guys know how bad your young master's temper is. The other nurses don't dare to come, they're all afraid of angering your young master. I, on the other hand, am confident in my skills. So, if you guys continue to delay, no matter what happens in the end, you guys will have to bear the consequences. After Huamin finished speaking, the 4 bodyguards looked at each other and seemed to be wavering. Get out of the way, I'm going in. Otherwise, if I miss the time to administer the medicine, will you guys be responsible? After saying that, Huamin pushed the door open and went in without waiting for the bodyguards to say anything. He brainwashed the bodyguards with just a few words. Their IQ was really high. Suyu had a mini monitor inside. It was a surveillance camera, so he could see everything outside. He thought that Huamin would retreat after being chased away at the door. He didn't expect that he would be able to convince the bodyguards with just a few words, which really surprised him. When Huamin walked in, Suyu turned off the surveillance camera outside. Raise your hand and insert the needle. Huamin couldn't be bothered to say another word. Suyu stared at Huamin. You're so eloquent and good at persuasion. It's really a waste of your talent if you don't become a MLM lecturer. Can I take it that you're praising me as a genius? Huamin looked at him and asked. Chapter 197. I can't be considered a genius. I can only say that my bodyguards are as stupid as pigs. Huamin chuckled. Suyu saw the small dimples on her cheeks when she smiled. She was very cute. Unlike the women outside, their smiles were very pretentious. They would either cover their mouths and pretend to be reserved, or they would smile slightly and pose for photos. There were very few people who smiled naturally and beautifully like her. Huamin did not say anything else. After the 4 was hooked up, he prepared to insert the needle. I say, I spent so much money here to suffer. Can't you get me a retention needle? Do you want me to die from the pain? Suyu reprimanded with a cold expression. Huamin raised his head to look at her and said in an extremely serious tone, that's why people like you who don't understand common sense are really scary. Retention needles are indeed convenient and can avoid the pain of repeated insertion. However, because the retention time is too long, it can easily cause bacterial infections and cause considerable damage to the blood vessels. Under normal circumstances, unless the baby is moving around and is afraid of the needle sticking, we don't recommend it unless it's a last resort. Seems like you're quite professional, Suyu muttered to herself. Nonsense. If I'm not professional, would I be sent here to give you an 4? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think I want to do this? Huamin had already inserted the needle as he spoke. It was always done when Suyu was not paying attention. Actually, it was not that painful. It was just like being bitten by a mosquito. Most importantly, young Master Su was too pretentious. Because he could not go out to eat, drink, and have fun, he was always looking for trouble in the recuperation area. From what you're saying, it sounds like you don't want to take care of me. Of course, Huamin said as he raised his head to observe the flow of the 4. Do you know that if you take care of me, you'll get an extra 2,000 yuan a day as a tip? Suyu asked. Huamin was startled and shook his head. I don't know about that. Now she finally understood why everyone was fighting to be in the first ward. Not only could they be close to young Master Su, but they could also get an extra 2,000 yuan a day. It was really cool. What about now? Do you want to come? No. Suyu thought that Huamin would take the initiative to beg him to come here. Why? Because taking care of you is very boring. The old man in the ward next door is better. You can play chess and drink tea with him. Well, you're basically fine. When the needle is removed, another nurse will come. Try not to sleep during this time and observe your infusion volume. After that, Huamin put his hands in the pockets of his lab coat and swaggered out. Suyu was left with a conflicted expression. How could there be such an annoying woman in this world? He really didn't know how to appreciate favors. She actually said that taking care of him was not as good as taking care of the uncle next door. Tomorrow, he would ask around and find out what kind of uncle lived next door. He should drive him away. Huamin was on the day shift for the first week, so he could go home on time after work. Xiaomai was hospitalized because of an accident, so her job was temporarily taken over by the head nurse. When Huamin got off work, he met the nurse from another shift, Nan. She drove a white BMW X3, which was quite cool for a girl to drive. She glanced at Huamin's car and laughed. This car is not very cheap. Why didn't you buy a brand? Not many people know about Volkswagen cars. Ah, this is my family's car. I didn't buy it. Huamin explained. Nan Nan didn't say anything. She slowly reversed the car and drove toward the front door. Because of the traffic jam during rush hour, Huamin got home at 6:30. Qin Chu hadn't come back yet, so the house was relatively quiet. She opened the fridge and sadly found that there were only bread and milk inside. There were no vegetables that could be cooked. Just as she was about to go to the supermarket, she received a call from Qin Chu. Change into something more formal. I'll pick you up at the door in 10 minutes. After that, he didn't wait for Huamin to ask anything and hung up. Huamin suddenly thought, change into something more formal? What day was it today? Chapter 198. After hesitating for a minute, Huamin went upstairs and opened the wardrobe. She didn't know when, but there were a lot of new clothes inside. The strange thing was that Qin Chu never told her these things. After looking around, Huamin finally chose a rose dress from Dolce & Gabbana's new summer collection. After thinking about it, she decided to put on light makeup to match it. She only wore a pair of white heels. When she looked in the mirror, Huamin felt much more pleasing to the eye. Maybe it was because she was used to going barefaced, but when she put on makeup occasionally, she felt that it was quite pleasing to the eye. Qin Chu was very punctual. He said that he would be there in 10 minutes, and he didn't miss a minute. When Huamin arrived downstairs, Qin Chu's car also arrived. When he saw Huamin through the car window, he was stunned. His wife didn't usually dress up, but when she did, she didn't lose to those actresses and young models at all. Huamin even had a unique aura that ordinary people didn't have. In the passenger seat, Huamin asked nervously, "Where are we going now?" "To eat." "Ah. What day is it today?" Huamin suddenly asked. Qin Chu turned his head to look at her. In the end, he seemed to be slightly disappointed. "No." After that, the two stopped talking. At the revolving restaurant on the top floor of the Pullman Hotel. This place overlooked the night view of the entire city. It was said that the chef used to be the head chef of a Michelin restaurant and was very good at cooking Western food and desserts. Moreover, it was very difficult to book a table here. Every night, only 6 tables were served, and each table was limited to 2 people. Qin Chu and Huamin sat at the best table for the night view. The atmosphere in the restaurant was especially romantic. Roses were arranged in every corner, and there was a handsome foreign man playing the violin live. "It's so beautiful here. I just realized that there is such a beautiful place in Sea City." Huamin sighed. At this moment, Qin Chu took out a small brocade box and pushed it onto the table. "This is for you." "What?" "Open it and you'll know." Qin Chu was deliberately mystifying. Huamin picked up the brocade box and slowly opened it. Inside lay a diamond ring. "Is this a proposal?" Huamin looked up at Qin Chu when he saw the diamond ring. "No, I just think that she suits you very well." Huamin took out the ring and put it on her finger. It was very beautiful. Not to mention the size, the most important thing was that she liked the design of the diamond. It was very small, not ostentatious, and not tacky. She liked it very much. Qin Chu knew her personality too well. That was why he gave her a gift. He didn't give her a pigeon egg to show off his wealth. "It's very beautiful." "Thank you." After Huamin put it on, he couldn't bear to put it down. He looked left and right again. Qin Chu smiled. It seemed that his efforts were not in vain. This diamond was designed by him. The diamond was also personally selected by him. He took it abroad for processing and finally flew it back. The total cost was no less than 3 million. Of course, Huamin didn't know the details. She thought that it was an ordinary diamond ring that cost 10 or 20,000 on the market. At this time, the waiter began to serve the dishes. There was medium-well steak, foie gras, caviar, and Australian lobster. There was also a bottle of red wine that looked expensive. Huamin thought in his heart. Today was not his birthday, nor was it Qin Chu's birthday, but the atmosphere was. Qin Chu was silent. He poured 2 glasses of red wine and handed one to Huamin. Then he picked up his glass and said, "Happy anniversary." Huamin was stunned. "Anniversary?" Although he suddenly thought of something, he felt a little ashamed. Sorry, I forgot that today is the 100th anniversary of our marriage. That's right. When they got their marriage certificate, it was still early summer. Now, it was already the end of summer. More than 3 months had passed. It's okay, as long as I remember. Chin-Chu raised his glass and took a small sip. Huimin also picked up her glass and took a small sip. On such a special day, with a special person, coming to such a beautiful restaurant together. This scene was unforgettable. You even prepared a gift for me. I don't have anything for you. Huimin was a little embarrassed. If she had known, she would have bought him a gift. If you really want to give me a gift, why don't you give me a kiss or something? I think I'd be happy to do that, Chin-Chu said in all seriousness. Huimin's face turned slightly red, however, she still got up gracefully, walked to Chin-Chu's side, and kissed him on the cheek. Just as she was about to kiss him, Chin-Chu quickly turned his face and licked Huimin's lips. Then, Huimin was confused. What was Chin-Chu doing? Chapter 199. Without time to think, Huimin immediately ran back to her seat and pretended to eat as if nothing had happened. She didn't even dare to look up as she dug into her ice cream spoon by spoon. Chin-Chu looked at her awkward expression and smiled slightly, his eyes filled with endless gentleness. When they got home, the two showered and were about to go to bed when Chin-Chu received a call. I'm going out for a bit, you sleep first. What's wrong? Huimin asked worriedly as she could tell it was something urgent. My dad's high blood pressure is acting up and he's in the hospital. Is it serious? I don't know yet, I'll go check on him. You sleep first. After speaking, Chin-Chu put on his jacket and left. Huimin actually wanted to say that she would go with him, but when she thought about her relationship with Chin-Chu's parents, she swallowed her words. The strange thing was, she suddenly couldn't fall asleep when Chin-Chu wasn't home. Maybe she was used to having him by her side, so she couldn't sleep when she was suddenly alone. That's why, sometimes, habit is a scary thing. There were some things that you didn't need to worry about not getting, but losing them again after getting them. Huimin didn't sleep well that night. When she woke up in the morning, she realized that Chin-Chu wasn't home yet. She thought for a moment and sent him a WeChat message. How's your dad? He's fine, his blood pressure dropped and he's home now. I have to go to the company for an early meeting, remember to eat breakfast. Okay. After replying, Huimin sighed, drank a glass of milk, and left. On the way, she accidentally turned on the radio in her car and heard a piece of gossip news. According to a media report, the popular costume actress Luo Feifei was on a date with the heir of GK at the Pullman Penthouse restaurant yesterday. The media took pictures of the scene, and it's rumored that Luo Feifei is the spokesperson for a female shoe brand under GK. Therefore, everyone is guessing that Luo Feifei took advantage of work to hook up with the heir of GK. According to the restaurant's employees, the two had a sweet dinner at the restaurant and their relationship has been exposed. When Huimin heard this, she was amused. When did she become the actress Luo Feifei? Could it be that they look alike? She took out her phone and searched for information on Baidu. She realized that she looked completely different from herself. She really didn't know what the media was thinking. However, what Huimin didn't know was that actress Luo Feifei did go to Pullman for dinner last night, but she didn't go with Chin-Chu. Instead, she went with her assistant. However, the media loved to make groundless accusations. When they saw Chin-Chu's car parked in front of the hotel, plus the fact that Luo Feifei was GK's new spokesperson, a series of assumptions and conjectures arose. Huimin couldn't be bothered with the messy news and drove to the sanatorium. After Chin-Chu came out of the company's conference room, he was a little tired. Last night, he went to the hospital to take care of his father. He stayed with him all night and sent him home in the morning. He hadn't slept the entire night, so his mental state wasn't very good. Boss, coffee. Little Yang immediately handed it over. Chin-Chu took it and slowly took a sip. Boss, did you read today's newspaper? Not yet. Why? You'll know when you see it. Chin-Chu picked up the morning paper and glanced at it. The big entertainment section read, actress Luo Feifei's late-night rendezvous with GK's prince, relationship suspected to be exposed. After reading the news, Qin Chu's face darkened. So, boss, did you really go to Pullman for dinner last night? Little Yang asked anxiously, because he saw that the Maybach in the photo really did belong to the president. Could it be that the president had started to date actresses? Yes, I did go to Pullman. So, Little Yang looked at the president nervously, thinking that he was going to admit to their relationship. So, who the hell is this Luo Feifei? Qin Chu asked with a dark expression. Chapter 200. President Qin, you don't know Luo Feifei? She's in a fantasy drama called Investiture of the Gods. She's the female lead, Su Deji. I've never seen it, so I don't know. Okay, you win. Assistant Yang thought that even if the president didn't watch TV series, the media would report on Luo Feifei every day. The streets and alleys were filled with publicity photos of this woman. It was hard not to recognize her. Therefore, his boss was an alien and not an earthling at all. On the other side, Luo Feifei was about to attend a press conference. Once the scandal was exposed, it became even more popular. Many reporters blocked the entrance, waiting for an interview. Her manager asked carefully, Feifei, did our studio make the headlines today? Of course not. Oh, I thought our team planned it. That's good news, you're on Weibo's hot search list now. You can use the press conference to promote your movie that will be released next month. Do your best. Luo Feifei looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. She didn't expect this scandal. She asked her assistant to make a reservation at Pullman a month in advance. She didn't expect the Prince of GK to be there last night. She regretted that she didn't recognize him. She wanted to use this opportunity to get close to him. The media always liked to make groundless accusations, but it was good. He could be considered her main force. Maybe she could use this opportunity to get close to the Prince of GK. Marrying into a rich family was every actress's ultimate dream. In front of the camera, Luo Feifei smiled sweetly and answered every reporter's question enthusiastically. Finally, a reporter asked, Miss Luo Feifei, can you tell us about your dinner with the Prince of GK last night? Did you guys announce your relationship? Luo Feifei was a bit shy. It's not convenient for me to reveal that right now, but I'll share good news with everyone. Luo Feifei's answer was vague, which increased the attention on this matter. Another reporter asked, I heard that you're the new spokesperson for GK's OWQ women's shoe brand. Did you accept this job because you're a couple with GK's heir, or did you become a couple with President Qin after your sister started working? Sorry, everyone, please ask about the movie that will be released next month. Thank you. The agent stepped forward to block the questions. Luo Feifei was doing this because she wanted to rise to the top and take the opportunity to hype up her popularity. She thought she was young and pretty, so even if President Qin of GK saw the news, he wouldn't blame her. Maybe he could even take the initiative to ask her out for a meal or something. In short, Luo Feifei thought things through too perfectly. After the interview was broadcasted, it received more than 10 million views. Many people were interested in the mysterious heir of GK. In particular, the scandal with Luo Feifei increased everyone's attention. On that day, GK's stock market skyrocketed. After Mother Qin finished watching the movie at home, she couldn't sit still anymore. She immediately called her son. Unexpectedly, he couldn't get through. Qin Chu had already transferred the call to voicemail because there were too many people harassing him. Even Gao Ran sent a WeChat message to Qin Chu. Bro, what's your situation? Aren't you afraid that Huamin will make you kneel on a durian when you get home? In fact, Huamin was already aware of it, but she knew the truth, so she didn't care at all. GK Design Department. After Jiang Linyu saw the news, her face turned gloomy. Director, do you think our president is really dating Luo Feifei? Luo Feifei is a piece of trash. How could she be good enough for our president? She must be dreaming. Let me tell you, there are no women in the entertainment industry who are clean. Our president is a germaphobe, and he hates her for being dirty. Jiang Linyu was too infatuated with Qin Chu, so she already knew all about his habits. All these years, she endured loneliness and protected her virginity, all for the sake of one glance from Chin Chu. Inside the president's office, sir, this is a big deal. Should we ask the PR department to send a response? Assistant Yang asked carefully. Chapter 201. Why should I respond to something like this? But Miss Luo Feifei is the new spokesperson for our women's shoes. Yang looked like he was about to cry. The chairman's wife couldn't find the president and kept calling him. He didn't know how to respond. This morning, President Qin said that he didn't know Miss Luo Feifei. However, Miss Luo Feifei had just been interviewed and her words were ambiguous. Who would believe that nothing had happened between them? With so many reporters crowding around GK, it wouldn't be right if he didn't respond. Yang's words finally caught Chin Chu's attention. He looked up and frowned slightly. You're saying that she's the spokesperson for our company? Yeah. Who decided? Chin Chu asked unhappily. The board of directors unanimously agreed to it. Oh, right, you were on a business trip, so the old chairman made the decision. Miss Luo Feifei is quite popular and the price is reasonable, so we signed a 1-year contract. Tell the marketing department to immediately remove her from the position and replace her with someone else. Replace who? Anyone is fine. But sir, we have to pay a penalty for breaching the contract, Yang said awkwardly. Do you think I'm short of money? Chin Chu asked back. No, that's not what I meant. I just wanted to say, what are you waiting for? Chin Chu's face darkened. Yang ran all the way to the marketing department and gave the order. The finance department immediately prepared the penalty for breaching the contract, and the team of lawyers rewrote the contract to minimize the losses. The PR department also sent out a letter announcing that GK had removed Miss Luo Feifei from the company. The news caused another uproar. Feifei, bad news. GK has breached the contract and you're no longer the spokesperson. Her manager rushed into the makeup room. Luo Feifei stood up immediately. What did you say? They want to replace you. Why? Luo Feifei's face looked terrible. I don't know the details, but the company called me and told me that they're willing to pay the penalty, but they don't want you as their spokesperson. You know how popular that car is, anyone who endorses it will become more famous. We can't believe we missed such an opportunity. I don't want compensation, I don't need money. I want to be GK's spokesperson, Luo Feifei said stubbornly. Even if you tell me, I can't do anything about it. I'm guessing that what you said at the press conference this morning offended President Qin. That can't be. Luo Feifei was unsure. Also, I heard that. The agent hesitated. Heard what? I heard that their president banned you from endorsing any of GK's products. When Luo Feifei heard this, she fell onto the chair behind her, dumbfounded. No, Ms. Liu, help me think of a way. Can you contact President Qin? I need to personally explain and apologize to him. I can't lose this opportunity to be GK's spokesperson. All the top actresses in the country are endorsing GK, I can't lose this great opportunity. If I really get blacklisted, my future will be very difficult, Luo Feifei said with a trembling voice as she realized how serious the situation was. Her eyes were red. The manager was a little angry. He thought to himself, if I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have acted so pretentiously and acquiesced in their relationship. Now that I've angered the big boss, I know how to cry. I'll try, but I don't have much hope. I heard that GK's president is very cold and unapproachable. Chin Chu was busy all morning. When he was having lunch at the cafeteria, the director of the public relations department walked in. She was a woman in her 40s, elegant and serious. She was an old employee of GK. President Qin, Miss Luo Feifei's agent just contacted me. She said that Miss Luo Feifei really wants to see you. Is it possible to make an appointment? No. Okay, President Qin. After rejecting the appointment, Luo Feifei didn't give up. After work, she followed Chin Chu's car. At a traffic light intersection, Chin Chu slammed on the brakes. Luo Feifei's white Maserati couldn't dodge in time and crashed into him. Chapter 202. Qin Chu parked the car on the side of the road and got out. Luo Feifei's driving skills were average. Maybe she was too impatient and wanted to catch up with Qin Chu to talk to him, so in her panic, she crashed into him. "You must be President Qin." Luo Feifei got out of the car and asked politely. Qin Chu glanced at her, then looked at his beloved car and frowned. "You crashed into my car. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to talk to you about something." Qin Chu looked at her, confused. The truth was, he didn't recognize Luo Feifei in person because she was wearing heavy makeup on screen. However, she looked different in person. "You know me? President Qin, I'm Luo Feifei. What do you want?" Qin Chu's face was cold. "I said something wrong at the press conference, and I'm here to apologize to you. Please don't terminate my contract, okay? I don't want compensation, I just want to be the spokesperson for GK. Please forgive me. The PR department has already taken care of this, so there's no point in you coming to me. But these things can be done with just a word from you. Please give me some face. We're not friends, why should I do you a favor?" Qin Chu was also confused. Why was this woman trying to get close to him? She purposely gave a vague response at the press conference, so she could use it as an opportunity to climb up the social ladder. Unfortunately, she messed with the wrong person. "Then we're friends now. As long as President Qin is willing to forgive me, I'll agree to anything you want." Luo Feifei saw that Qin Chu was extraordinarily handsome, so she hinted that she could do something to him. Unfortunately, Qin Chu wasn't interested at all. He only said one thing: "We'll choose a big star from Europe and America as our new spokesperson. My decision won't change, that's all." "Oh right, I'll leave the car here. After the insurance company verifies it, you can pay them the amount they're willing to pay. The money will be directly transferred to my company account. If the money isn't transferred in a week, my legal team will sue you." After speaking, Qin Chu stood on the side of the road, hailed a taxi, and left. Luo Feifei felt like crying, but no tears came out. She even felt like dying. What kind of fate was this? Not only did he fail to reach a deal, he even crashed into someone else's luxury car. As more and more people gathered around, Luo Feifei immediately put on her mask and got into the car. Then, he called his agent and rushed over to deal with it. The traffic police and the insurance company arrived soon after. When the manager arrived at the scene and saw the terrible scene, she scolded, "Feifei, how did this happen? Don't mention it. That Qin Chu is so cold. I even suspect that he is gay. He didn't even move when he saw me." Luo Feifei kept complaining. Was he referring to Qin Chu as an iceberg? That's right, but it depends on who the target is. To Huamin, he was a once-in-a-thousand-years warm stove. In Huamin's wardrobe, all the clothes were personally selected by Qin Chu, including the underwear. Huamin sometimes blushed when he thought about it. It was really hard for a man like him to do these things for him. Therefore, when he was free, Huamin would go shopping by himself and buy some clothes that he liked. He didn't want to burden Qin Chu. After work at night, Huamin bought some fresh beef and vegetables from the supermarket and prepared to cook hot pot. Qin Chu got off work on time. "Just in time, we can eat hot pot." Huamin smiled. "Did you see the news today?" Qin Chu lowered his head and changed his shoes as he asked. Chapter 203. I saw it. It was that high school student who helped an 8-year-old uncle up, but got blackmailed instead, right? The world is so unfair. They say that old people don't turn bad, but bad people do. The student's parents didn't want to pay, so they went to the high school and made a scene. They hugged the kid's leg and refused to let go. That's why I said I won't meddle in other people's business anymore. Thank goodness you helped me last time, but I won't be Mary Sue anymore. I'd rather be called cold. Huamin rambled on, but Qin Chu just looked at her quietly. Finally, he said, "Mion, that's not what I'm asking. You should know what I'm asking about." Seeing how serious Qin Chu was, Huamin didn't dare to stray from the topic. She nodded. "I saw the news about you and that female celebrity. That female celebrity is quite pretty. That's what you wanted to tell me. Qin Chu frowned slightly, showing his displeasure. Then what should I tell you? Huamin was a little confused. I don't know that Luo Feifei. Maybe because she's popular, the company invited her to be their spokesperson. But today, they terminated her contract, and I ordered all of GK's subsidiaries not to use her. If that's the case, won't you have to pay a lot of money? It doesn't matter, as long as you don't misunderstand. I won't misunderstand. We had dinner together last night. The media likes to write nonsense, don't be mad, Huamin comforted. Qin Chu took off his jacket, lit a cigarette, and leaned against the sofa. He looked at Huamin. But today at the press conference, she purposely acted mysterious and wanted to use the opportunity to climb up the social ladder. Huamin smiled. Isn't that normal? Female celebrities like to do that. It's just hype, it's not real. No, I won't let anyone use my private life for hype. I understand. Huamin nodded. Mion. Yeah. Do you trust me? Qin Chu asked gently. What do you mean? It's how much you trust me. Do you believe that I won't mess around outside? Qin Chu's eyes were deep, as if he was testing Huamin's attitude. Huamin nodded. I believe you. Why? Huamin pointed at his head. I didn't grow this for nothing. If I can't distinguish between lies and truth, how can I be considered a genius? Qin Chu was slightly moved. He raised his hand and said, Mion, come here. It was rare for Huamin to be so obedient. He shuffled over and stood beside Qin Chu. Qin Chu reached out and pulled her into his arms. He buried his head in her neck, his warm breath made her smile slightly, such an intimate action made her heart beat faster. He said, Mion, remember, no matter what happens in the future, I don't care what other people think. As long as you believe in me, I will die without regrets. Bah, what are you talking about? What do you mean by death? Huamin pinched Qin Chu's face. Qin Chu gently raised his hand and brushed away the stray hair in front of her forehead. It was as if he couldn't get enough of looking at Huamin. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beauty before? Huamin was a little embarrassed and snorted. Qin Chu's lips curled up slightly. Indeed, I've never seen a beauty come out of the shower naked and only know how to cover her face. There you go again. Are you going to say this awkward joke for the rest of my life? Huamin flew into a rage out of humiliation. He raised his fist and punched Qin Chu's body. He didn't use much strength, but to him, it was like he was flirting. He grabbed her arm and gently bit her lips. It was so soft. There was a slight itch amidst the warmth, and a hint of desire amidst the lingering sensation. Chapter 204. Just then, the induction cooker beeped twice, signaling that the water was boiling. Huamin immediately pushed Qin Chu over and stood up awkwardly. The water's boiling. Let's go eat hot pot. Okay. Although Qin Chu looked unsatisfied, he still listened to Huamin. The couple felt very warm as they ate a steaming hot pot in the cool weather of late summer and early autumn. Just then, Qin Chu's phone rang. What's up? I just got off work. Let's go out for a drink. Gao Ran was in high spirits. I'm not going. Why not? Gao Ran was annoyed that Qin Chu actually rejected him. I already ate at home. Oh, so you're with your wife. I haven't eaten yet. Why don't I join you? No. Qin Chu decisively refused. Hey, do you have any humanity left in you? Think about it. How much effort did I put in to help you and Huamin? Huamin's ex-boyfriend is about to get married. Did he visit a prostitute or something? I told you to come watch the show and created an opportunity for you guys. Then, I helped you investigate the truck. Also, a few days ago, Huamin got into a fight with a patient's family and was injured. I was also the first to tell you about it. How dare you burn the bridge after crossing the river? Are all capitalists like you? Gao Ran rambled on, and Qin Chu's heart softened. He looked at Huamin, and Huamin immediately asked, Who is it? Gao Ran wants to come to our house for dinner. Then let him come. Gao Ran was just about to thank Huamin when Huamin said, I'll ask Lingling to come too. Oh, I suddenly remembered that I have something urgent to do, so I won't go. Maybe another day, ha. Before hanging up, Jiao Ran didn't forget to say to Qin Chu, your wife is a perfect match for you. She's so bad. Then, she hung up the phone. Amused, Qin Chu placed his phone on the dining table. What are you laughing at? Huamin looked at him in confusion. It's nothing. Qin Chu didn't want to say more. The next day, Qin Chu got up early because he had to catch an early flight for a business trip. When Huamin was eating breakfast, he suddenly remembered that the food at Southside's cafeteria tasted terrible, so he decided to bring his own food. The patients at Southside Recuperation Center ate very well because they paid for it themselves. All the fresh ingredients were flown in by air. However, the chefs were so busy cooking for the patients that they neglected the workers. Huamin thought that the stir-fried vegetables tasted like pig feed. Of course, she had never eaten pig feed before, so it was just a guess. To save time, Huamin made seaweed rolls, a Korean dish. When they passed by the supermarket, they even bought a can of spicy cabbage. The combination was perfect. After Huamin took care of the old man in room 2 in the morning, he took his lunchbox and sat down on a bench in the hallway of the hospital, ready to eat. Just then, Su Yu, who was being supported by the bodyguards, came back from the other end of the hall. He immediately saw Huamin. It wasn't because she was beautiful, but because she was at Southside, where short skirts and uniforms were very tempting. When he saw a nurse in a loose white coat, he was sure that she was Huamin. Ever since Su Yu arrived, he didn't have much of an appetite. Whether it was seafood, stir-fried vegetables, or desserts, he didn't have any appetite. Because he was bored lying in bed all day, he didn't want to eat anything. Some of the female celebrities under his company who were good at cooking had been thrown into the trash can by Su Yu. However, when he saw Huamin sitting there eating something and looking like it was delicious, his appetite was whetted. When he passed by Huamin, he glanced at it and found that the seaweed rolls were very small and cute. It was in the shape of a bear, and its eyes and nose were made of seaweed. It was so cute. What are you eating? He was very curious. Seaweed rolls, Huamin said without looking up. Give me one, Su Yu said firmly. No way. Huamin looked up with a determined expression. Chapter 205. I can give you money. 1,000 yuan for a seaweed roll, how about that? Su Yu said arrogantly. He always thought that there was nothing that money couldn't solve. If it couldn't be solved, then it meant that the money wasn't there. No, Huamin decisively refused. 5,000 yuan. Su Yu instantly increased the price by 5 times. Huamin looked up and smiled sweetly. Su Yu immediately felt proud. He thought that she would agree for sure this time. After all, no one would say no to money. To his surprise, after smiling, Huamin picked up a seaweed roll and put it in her mouth right in front of him. Young Master Su was so greedy that he was almost drooling. 5,000 yuan is enough to buy a car. Why don't you order takeout? It tastes better than mine, Huamin suggested. I don't want takeout, I want to eat this. Tell me, how much are you willing to sell it for? Su Yu finally lost his patience and directly offered a price. I'm not selling it for any price. Let me tell you this. You think that money is omnipotent, but you don't know that sometimes, money is completely useless. For example, in the desert, you might not even be able to buy a bottle of mineral water with 100 million yuan. Su Yu's face immediately darkened. Not only did this woman not give him food, she even tried to reason with him. He was so angry. The seaweed rolls were getting fewer and fewer until there was only one left. Huamin ate the authentic Korean-style spicy cabbage to her heart's content. In the end, Su Yu couldn't hold back anymore. While Huamin wasn't paying attention, he quickly grabbed a seaweed roll and put it in his mouth to chew. Hey, when did you become a robber? Huamin looked at Su Yu speechlessly. Was he really the rich sugar daddy who was on the entertainment headlines every day and had all the girls in the city falling in love with him? How could he be so uncultured and not care about his image at all? It seemed like the newspapers were all lies. Seeing was believing. He was so uncultured. After eating, Su Yu took out his wallet, opened it, and threw a stack of money on the bench. It looked like it was at least 3 to 5,000 yuan. Here's your reward. I won't eat for free. Why do I feel like you're an idiot? Huamin chuckled. Su Yu immediately reacted. Who are you calling an idiot? You don't want to live anymore? Yeah, I don't want to live anymore if I have to take care of a hypocritical patient like you. Hurry up and die. Huamian closed her eyes to piss him off. Chapter 206. You really. Su Yu was speechless at Huamin's blatant provocation. If it was any other woman, he would have smashed her head with his phone without hesitation. But strangely, he didn't feel like he was going to hit her this time. He subconsciously looked at the woman with her eyes closed and thought that her eyelashes were very pretty. She wasn't like those women who wore fake eyelashes, grafted eyelashes, or wore black mascara. Huamian's eyelashes weren't close, thick, or even curled up automatically. But because they were so natural, they gave off a refreshing feeling. She never put on makeup and only did basic skincare, so her skin was really good. It was white and bright. She didn't wear any lipstick, so her lips were a natural light red, looking moist and glossy. Her face wasn't very stunning, but it made people feel very comfortable looking at it. Su Yu even thought that if he kissed her, her lips would definitely taste good. When this thought popped up in his mind, he was shocked. He had really seen a ghost. Finally, after looking deeply at Huamin, Su Yu turned around and left. Hearing the footsteps disappear, Huamin opened her eyes, smiled, and said to herself, this Su Yu is as childish as a child, but he doesn't seem to have a bad temper. It seems that most of the rumors can't be trusted. Huamin didn't see Su Yu being violent. At most, he just pissed him off. Therefore, she only thought that Su Yu was a little childish and wasn't as bad as the rumors said. This could be seen from the fact that he had snatched his seaweed roll just now. What did the Su family's crown prince mean? They were making a mountain out of a molehill. Qin Manor Jiang Linyu sat on the sofa in the living room, flattered. She didn't know why the president's wife invited her to their house. It was her first time entering the Qin Manor, and it was indeed luxurious. The maid cut some fruit and poured some flower tea. Qin Chu walked down from the second floor, looking elegant and graceful. Madam. Jiang Linyu immediately stood up and greeted her. Take a seat. Jiang Linyu sat down cautiously, and Lady Qin sat down on the leather sofa beside her. Don't be nervous. I called you here today not because of the company, but because of some personal matters. The chairman is not at home, so you can relax a little. Yes, madam. Jiang Linyu smiled. Today, she was wearing a beige business suit, black high heels, black stockings, and exquisite makeup. Jiang Linyu was one of the most beautiful women in the entire GK Corporation. She had many suitors, but she was proud and arrogant. She never looked at those people in the eye. She just felt that being by Qin Chu's side was the best home for her. Luo Feifei's matter has been a hot topic these days. I was going to believe it and ask Chu, but then I saw the public relations department of the company send a letter to terminate the contract and never use Luo Feifei again. I guess that woman wants to use my son to get the position, so she angered him. Jiang Linyu nodded. That's right. With President Qin's status, he wouldn't have anything to do with those actresses with bad reputations. As an employee of GK, I trust him very much. Lady Qin nodded in satisfaction. I'm happy to hear that. I personally don't want Chu to get involved with those women in the entertainment industry. Most of those women have dirty backgrounds and are unscrupulous on their way to fame. They have too many scandals, so of course they don't have the right to enter the Qin family. No, they don't even have the chance to get close to President Qin. President Qin is very clean. Jiang Linyu praised. She secretly observed and noticed that Qin Chu never had intimate contact with any woman. He always went to work on time, and no one other than Assistant Yang was allowed to get close to him. I know my own son, but rumors are scary. He's so outstanding, but he's never had a girlfriend. People will gossip about him. The Qin family has always valued our reputation, and I really don't want people to seize the opportunity to spread rumors. Then, has President Qin never had a girlfriend? In fact, Jiang Linyu also wanted to know if Qin Chu was gay. Chapter 207. Lady Qin's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. I did, but we broke up not long after. We weren't suitable for each other, that was a long time ago. Not long after that, my son left the country. I'm not sure if he has a girlfriend in the States, because he rarely talks to me about it. Oh, I see. Then you don't have to worry, Mrs. Qin. If President Qin had a girlfriend before, then it's not like what the rumors say. Jiang Linyu seemed relieved. Little Jiang, there's something I want to ask you. I hope you can tell me the truth. Go ahead, Mrs. Qin. Do you like Chu? Lady Qin stared at Jiang Linyu's face and asked. Jiang Linyu immediately blushed. Then, she bit her lip and nodded. Lady Qin smiled. Do you want to date him? Jiang Linyu raised her head, a bit dejected. President Qin won't like me. How do you know if you don't try? Mrs. Qin, you mean? Jiang Linyu couldn't believe that Mrs. Qin was trying to help her. Seeing Jiang Linyu's shock, Lady Qin continued, your background is very clean, I like it. Although you're not from a famous family, you're still from a scholarly family. Your family members all immigrated, and you're a simple family. You're highly educated and excellent at your job. You're my ideal daughter-in-law. Mrs. Qin, Jiang Linyu was extremely excited and didn't know what to say. Anyways, I'll create opportunities for the two of you. I believe that sincerity can move metal and stone. Although Chu's personality is cold, you'll get used to him after a while. Thank you, Mrs. Qin. Jiang Linyu immediately nodded in gratitude. Then, Jiang Linyu ate dinner at the Qin manor. After dinner, Qin Chu suddenly came home. Mom, what's up? Is Dad not feeling well again? Qin Chu opened the door and walked in. Oh, no, your dad's in good health. He went to the hot springs in the mountains to recuperate. He's not home. Qin Chu didn't say anything after hearing this, but he saw Jiang Linyu standing next to his mother. President Qin, Jiang Linyu greeted him. Why are you here? Qin Chu looked displeased. I'm the one who asked Xiao Jiang to come and report to me about the company's situation. I've been taking care of your father recently and haven't had time to go over. If there's nothing else, I'll go back first, Qin Chu said and turned to leave. Chu, the driver asked for leave today, and it's not easy to get a taxi here. Why don't you give Xiao Jiang a ride? After all, she's an employee of our company, Lady Qin suddenly said. Qin Chu turned around to look at his mother, then at Jiang Linyu. Finally, he said, let's go. Jiang Linyu was ecstatic to see Qin Chu agree, and Lady Qin gave her an encouraging look. She jogged behind Qin Chu and got into the Maybach. To her surprise, as soon as she opened the door to the passenger seat, Qin Chu said coldly, go sit at the back. Yes, President Qin. Jiang Linyu didn't dare to say anything else and sat in the back. At first, neither of them spoke, and Jiang Linyu didn't dare to say anything either, afraid that she would say something wrong. Suddenly, Qin Chu asked, my mom must have said something to you since she asked you to come, right? No, nothing, it's all about work. You can't lie to me, I can imagine what kind of deal you guys made. To be honest, I really hate you, so don't think about unrealistic things. My mom's opinion doesn't represent me. I know, President Qin. Jiang Linyu nodded. But, in order to make sure my mom doesn't bother me anymore, let's make a deal. What deal? Jiang Linyu was slightly surprised. Chapter 208. In the future, no matter what my mom says to you, just brush her off. You don't have to say too much. I think that since you're the one she likes, she won't have time to find another woman for me after she spends all her time on you. That's not a bad idea. Jiang Linyu immediately understood what Qin Chu meant. She asked carefully, President Qin, are you saying that you want me to be a spy and help you put on an act to hide it from Mrs. Qin? I can give you a 2% raise. I don't care about the salary, President Qin. You don't understand me, I actually. Jiang Linyu wanted to say more but was interrupted by Qin Chu. If you don't agree to my proposal, then you will be transferred to the branch in Malaysia tomorrow. Jiang Linyu, the big boss, was indeed ruthless. If the deal didn't work out, then he had to be ruthless. In the end, Jiang Linyu had no choice but to compromise. I agree to your proposal, President Qin. Good. After speaking, Qin Chu stepped on the brakes and said, "Get out of the car here and take a taxi home. You can report the taxi fee to the finance department tomorrow." Jiang Linyu got out of the car uncomfortably and watched Qin Chu's Maybach drive away. He was always so heartless, even kicking her out of the car halfway, but she still couldn't give up on him. When Huamin got off work, they encountered rush hour and were stuck in traffic. They had to wait for one red light after another. Huamin was bored. She took out her phone, took a picture of the traffic jam, and posted it on her WeChat friend circle. She wrote, "The new gambling city has been born. From now on, Las Vegas will no longer dominate the world, but our great sea city will be famous overseas." Zhu Lingling immediately commented, "I agree, let's just call our city the gambling city from now on." Jing Zhixin also posted a comment, "Sis, did you buy a car?" Huamin immediately replied, "No, the new company gave me one." Zhixin was naive and believed her without a doubt. He even sent a cheering emoji, "Sis, you're the best. Take me for a ride someday." Huamin was just about to reply when the light changed. She immediately focused on driving. When she passed by a big supermarket, she parked her car on the side of the road, planning to go in and buy some fruits and vegetables. Yet, he saw such a scene. A woman was kicked to the ground with a pained expression. Not only did the man not stop, he kept hitting her. There were many onlookers, but no one stopped them. Huamin had mixed feelings when he saw the couple clearly. It was none other than Yuan Funfen, the pregnant woman she had risked her life to save some time ago. The person who hit her was her husband. "Hubby, I beg you, please come home. Our daughter misses you very much." The woman cried miserably. "You're such a jinx. You only know how to cry. No wonder I'm so unlucky. I lost a lot of money and almost went to jail. I'm so fucking disheartened. I'll beat you to death," the man scolded and hit him. "Don't hit her. What kind of man are you if you hit your wife?" The passers-by tried to comfort him. "Get lost. We're a couple. Even the police don't care. It's none of your business." The man's attitude was arrogant. The woman was sobbing on the ground. After Huamin took one look, he was no longer in the mood to buy groceries. He turned around and got into his car. She wouldn't stop him. Previously, she had saved her out of kindness and was almost bitten by her. Therefore, Huamin didn't feel that this woman was pitiful. As the saying goes, a pitiful person must have a detestable side. That man often used domestic violence against her. Not only did she refuse to divorce him, she even thought that she wouldn't be able to live without him. A woman like this was destined to never find happiness. Previously, when she begged Huamin to let her husband go, it was reasonable. However, she played a little trick in front of so many people, which made Huamin extremely uncomfortable. Actually, even if she didn't act so much, and went to Huamin alone, Huamin still might have let her husband go. Huamin only felt that the result of that incident was that they didn't cause trouble for the hospital. It was good enough that the hospital and he were innocent. However, right now, Huamin was thinking that a jerk like this would be better off in jail. It would be a disaster if he was released. The reason why they were where they were today was simply because of one word: retribution. Tragedies all stemmed from their own choices. After a little delay, it was almost 7 o'clock by the time she got home. Huamin walked in empty-handed. As soon as she walked in, she smelled the smell of cooking oil. She walked to the kitchen door in shock and saw a very melodramatic scene. Qin Chu was wearing a white shirt and black trousers, cooking. That's right, our almighty Qin was cooking. "Ah, Boss Qin, can you tell me what you're doing?" Huamin asked curiously. Chapter 209. I'm learning how to cook Chinese food. The simple yet powerful words left Huamin a little dumbfounded. You, why do you want to learn how to cook Chinese food? I can do it. Huamin thought that the food she made was delicious, so she was the only one who knew how to cook. Qin Chu had been in the States for 7 years, and if he wanted to learn, he would have to start all over again. How troublesome would that be? Don't you like Chinese food? But I know how to make it myself. Huamin was helpless. Sometimes you get off work late, so you're tired and hungry. I get off work early and have nothing to do anyway, Qin Chu slowly said. Then, he poured the mushrooms from the wok onto a plate. The faint aroma of the mushrooms drifted over, and Huamin's eyes immediately became misty. She was touched again. The truth was, it wasn't a big deal for a husband to cook for his wife. However, Qin Chu wasn't an ordinary husband. He was so busy that he could fly. He was the CEO of GK, and he wished that he could have 72 hours a day. The 7 subsidiary companies under GK were all leaders in their respective industries. Qin Chu had meetings that lasted 4 to 5 hours every day. However, he still went to work on time every day and cooked for her. How could she not be moved? Wash your hands and get changed, the food is ready. Huamin didn't say anything. She went upstairs, changed into a set of home clothes, and washed her hands. When she sat down at the dining table, she saw that the 4 dishes and 1 soup were already on the table. Judging by the color alone, she knew that they were going to taste good. They looked delicious, Huamin exclaimed as she looked at the dishes. Steamed sea bass, mushroom stir-fried meat, bitter gourd fried eggs, and braised pork ribs. The soup was seafood soup, and clams floated on top of it. Qin Chu picked up the soup bowl, filled it with seafood, and handed it to her. Thank you. Huamin took a small bite and gave her a thumbs up. It's super good, I don't even know how to make this, how did you figure it out? The chef at the company's restaurant taught me. He's pretty good, so I asked him. Impressive. It seems that the chefs of big companies are indeed different. Huamin smiled. Because it was Qin Chu's first time cooking, Huamin ate a lot. He ate 1.5 bowls of rice. In the end, she couldn't help but say, if it weren't for the fact that I'm afraid of getting fat, I would really want to eat another bowl. It's okay. I won't mind if you're fat. But I despise myself. There's no spring for fatties. Huamin blinked his eyes, looking especially adorable. Qin Chu looked at Huamin's expression and felt very satisfied. All he wanted was to be with Huamin and have a simple little happiness. The next morning, Huamin arrived at the recuperation area. He changed into his work clothes and measured the blood pressure of the old man in room 2. Sir, please take it easy these days. You can't steal desserts anymore. Your blood sugar is already higher than before. Okay, got it. Hey, girl, when you're free later, why don't we play a game of chess? The old man's eyes glowed with excitement and anticipation. Ever since he found out that Huamin's chess skills were superb, the old man had been clamoring to play chess every day. Okay, but wait a moment. I have to go next door and give the young master an 4 drip. After speaking, Huamin returned to the on-call desk. He picked up the medicine that he had prepared and walked towards room 1. At this time, the bodyguards seemed to have gone to eat breakfast. Only one person on duty was left. He was busy sending messages on WeChat and didn't notice Huamin enter. After knocking on the door, Huamin pushed the door open and entered. Then, the scene in front of her made her feel extremely awkward. A beautiful woman with a hot body took off her clothes and clung onto Su Yu's body. Her actions were extremely suggestive. Huamin's sudden appearance shocked the beautiful woman. She immediately pulled her clothes up with a flustered expression. I'm sorry. You guys continue. After speaking, Huamin turned around and left. Huamin, get your ass back here. Su Yu yelled loudly. Chapter 210. Hey, this isn't good, is it? Huamin turned around awkwardly. How could she have known that something like this would happen so early in the morning, especially in a hospital room? Su Yu looked at the beauty beside him impatiently. Get out of here. Young Master Su. The beauty seemed reluctant. Get out of here, stop talking nonsense. The beauty reluctantly put on her clothes with tears in her eyes and walked out. When she passed by Huamin, she glared at her fiercely. She seemed to be blaming her for ruining her plans. Huamin glanced at the beauty and muttered to herself, why does she look so familiar? Is she the host of the Travel Channel at 8 o'clock every night? There's a show called Around the World. Are all the bodyguards outside dead? How could they let you in? Suyu said angrily. It had been a few days since he came to this shitty sanatorium, and he was almost living like a monk. Coincidentally, the female host came to deliver breakfast, so Suyu wanted to satisfy his craving. However, he didn't expect that damn girl, Huamin, to bump into him. However, the strange thing was, after Huamin ruined his plans, Suyu was no longer in a good mood. No matter how he looked at the woman, he was annoyed, so he immediately kicked her out. When she heard Suyu's question, Huamin answered honestly, I saw 3 of them go to eat breakfast, and the last one was texting on WeChat. Based on his state of concentration, he must have fallen in love, so he completely ignored my existence. Suyu raised his head and glanced at Huamin. He said angrily, do you think you're Detective Conan? You're analyzing the case for me. How could my bodyguard not know? Huamin immediately shut up and didn't say anything else. Come here. Suyu beckoned her over with his finger. What? Isn't it an 4 drip? Hurry up, I don't want to stay in this damned place any longer. Suyu was a little impatient. It was rare for young Master Su to take the initiative to ask for an 4 drip. Huamin walked over and inserted the needle. Suyu seemed to have gotten used to Huamin's technique and was no longer resistant to acupuncture. When Huamin was very close to her, he lowered his head and a few strands of his long hair fell down. Suyu actually wanted to reach out and lift her hair for her. At this moment, Huamin suddenly raised his head. Seeing Death Killer raise his head, he immediately asked defensively, what are you doing? She wondered if she had hurt this ancestor and he was going to beat her up. Unexpectedly, Suyu replied, oh, I want to see if your hair is real. Or did you pick it up? What does it have to do with you? What kind of fetish do you have? Huamin glanced at her cautiously and muttered to himself. His excuse wasn't perfect enough. Suyu felt quite awkward and immediately changed the topic. The seaweed rolls from yesterday were pretty good. Go home and make them again today and bring them to me tomorrow. Why should I? Huamin crossed his arms and looked at Suyu. Because I'm your patient. The hospital doesn't have such a rule. You're so rich that you can get Tripitaka's meat if you want. Why should you eat my seaweed rolls? I think it's delicious. Why do you ask so many questions? You're crazy. Huamin turned around and was about to leave. Hey, come back. What else do you want? Huamin turned around. The weather outside is pretty good. Help me out for a walk. Your bodyguard did this, didn't he? Huamian was slightly taken aback, wondering what was wrong with this ancestor. I'm tired of their beauty. Today, it's your turn. Me. Huamin was about to refuse when he heard Suyu say, this is within the scope of a nurse's job. If you refuse, I'll immediately file a complaint against you. Huamin had no choice but to carefully help Suyu up. They took the elevator downstairs and arrived at the hospital's back garden. The air outside was indeed very good. The sun was shining brightly. Huamin naturally had to have physical contact with him because he had to support him. Suyu confidently raised her arms and hugged Huamin's thin shoulders. There was a small gap between the 1.85 meters tall Suyu and the 1.65 meters tall Huamin. Huamin was about to say that there was a pavilion in front and that they should sit down. Then, she realized that Suyu had lowered his head and was looking at her chest. Then, the guy said shamelessly, no wonder you always wear a white coat. It's so small. Chapter 211. In a fit of anger, Huamin suddenly loosened her grip. Suyu lost his balance and fell to the ground. Stupid girl, why did you loosen your grip? Are you trying to get me killed? This is called breakdown therapy. Huamin looked at him provocatively, taking revenge for what he said just now. What kind of lousy therapy is this? I want to complain. Suyu protested. Okay, I'll just quit. You make it sound like I don't want to live without this job. Suyu, listen to me. I've served you enough. You're not even as easygoing as the old man next door. I'd rather play chess with the old man than give you acupuncture treatment in fear. With that, Huimin turned and left. Su Yu was alone on the grass. He couldn't get up, and there was no one else nearby. Being left in the hospital's backyard by Huimin and exposed to the sun for 10 minutes, Su Yu was furious. In the end, it was a passing nurse who found out and quickly helped Su Yu back. After he returned to his room, he picked up his phone and immediately wanted to call the person in charge of the rehabilitation center. But when he was about to dial the number, he paused. Huimin was right. At worst, she would just quit. If Huimin left, those stupid nurses would give him acupuncture treatment. They might end up like the first idiot, and he would suffer. After convincing himself, Su Yu decided to be magnanimous and forgive the stupid girl this time. But unexpectedly, Huimin took the initiative to say that she wouldn't take care of Su Yu anymore. The reason was simple. Not only was he hard to please, but he also took advantage of her from time to time. She couldn't stand it. Take today's incident for example. If Qin Chu knew about it, he would strangle her to death. Although she didn't marry Qin Chu willingly, Huimin thought that she couldn't be too intimate with other men outside. Huimin, don't be like this. If you don't do it, no one else will dare to do it. You are the best candidate. The nurse, Nan Nan, kept trying to persuade her. It won't happen. We have so many nurses here. There must be someone with good skills. Besides, infusion is not difficult. You'll get used to it after a few times. It'll be the same without me. Huimin, did young Master Su make things difficult for you? The head nurse couldn't help but ask. Huimin nodded. Huimin, how about this? I'll give you an extra 500 yuan every day. I'll apply to the higher-ups. Huimin raised her hand and interrupted the head nurse. Head nurse, it's not about money. I just don't want to take care of him anymore. Leave the old man in room 2 to me, or transfer me to the neurosurgery department. I'd rather take care of patients with cerebral palsy. Huimin thought, even taking care of patients with cerebral palsy is better than taking care of Su Yu, right? At least patients with cerebral palsy wouldn't be so overbearing and domineering. Although she was a caring nurse, it wasn't like she didn't have a temper. If a tiger didn't show its might, people would think that she was a sick cat. Hearing Huimin's words, the head nurse didn't insist and only nodded. In the evening, a new nurse was transferred to perform the acupuncture. As soon as she walked in, she was kicked out by Su Yu. He said, "Let Huimin do it." Young Master Su, Huimin won't be responsible for your infusion anymore, the nurse stuttered. Why? Su Yu coldly glanced at the nurse's frightened face. She said. The nurse was so scared that she didn't know what to say. Are you stuttering? Hurry up and tell me, what did she say? Su Yu was about to go crazy. She said that she'd rather go to the neurosurgery department to take care of patients with cerebral palsy than take care of you, young Master Su. After hearing this, Su Yu's face immediately darkened. Great, this damned girl, he didn't even hold it against her for leaving him exposed to the sun in the backyard during the day, but she dared to play tricks on him. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.